I thought I told you the last time will be the very last time. I hope you know I'm on you. I hope you don't try to cross that line. 'Cause you think that you got the best of it. You think that you got the best of me. Go ahead and try 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 me.
Yo. We back here for another one. And another one. Oh man. So we got Jack here with us, man.
Yes, sir.
It's about to be a good one. Man, we already moving. We halfway through February already, aren't we?
Yeah, we really are. It's going by fast, dude.
Man.
Sorry, bad enough it's a short month, but it's actually going by fast too.
Right. You know, it's funny too because my job is making it a priority to do like something for Black History Month, or like every
Really?
single day. Like Monday through Friday, like different foods. So us as Black people, we be like, you know, goggles on, you know what I'm saying? Glasses, like, is that really is that though? Is that though? They've been on point though. Some of the stuff is like, okay, I see the stereotype, but we not go.
So what they got? What they bring? We got to hear this.
Yeah, I know,
What
right?
they bring?
So the first day they brought what did they bring? It was mac and cheese, it was grilled chicken, but like on the grill, so like real grilled chicken,
Right.
mac and cheese, and greens. So I was like, huh, okay.
What kind of greens? Turnips or collards?
collard greens.
I'm about to
It
say
was
you going
definitely
deep.
collard greens. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Then one day they did some food, and I was like, I ain't never heard of that before. That's not black. But then I looked it up, and I was like, oh, okay, it's like a Louisiana Southern thing. Like I wouldn't
Right.
know
What
nothing
was
about that. I can't remember. From what I hear, it tastes pretty good, but like visually wise, like it looked.
Was it
disgusting.
gumbo?
No.
I think
I
he
know
would've
what that
known that.
is.
Some
Yeah.
jambalaya? Was some
Like, dang.
jambalaya?
No,
Yeah,
it wasn't even
bad
that.
out here.
It literally had a French name to it. And that's why I was like, and then I looked and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Louis.
They did that Tuesday.
I believe so.
Okay,
Not
so
this
they did
past
that.
Tuesday. This was like a week
Oh,
ago.
I was about to say they did it according to like the fact that Mardi Gras was Tuesday.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why I was like, yeah.
All about
And then
that.
so like the different foods they've had so far is like cornbread. They've had grits.
Really?
Wait, what kind
Yeah.
of cornbread?
They short grit?
The
What's
that?
sweet cornbread, the Jiffy, the
Yeah.
sweet cornbread.
Yeah,
Okay.
sweet cornbread. Yeah, they look like they was trying to do their homework. You know what I'm saying? But then the other day, Friday, they had greens again, collard. They had ribs and rib tips,
Okay.
and I can't remember what the other thing was. But I was like, man, you just picking out stuff from a barbecue.
Yeah, pretty much they hitting barbecues.
Come on, you're gonna stereotype our barbecues like that. But
Hey, why don't they just do like just African foods in general, or just black people foods like Jamaican food? Then they do try to figure out some African foods if they can.
nah, they didn't.
I'm about to say it's gonna be kind of hard to do anything if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, because it's already the fact that it ain't no black people cooking in the first place.
Right.
Where's
Right.
the
I'm
Kool-Aid
already
though? Where the Kool-Aid with the?
But they don't do drinks. They don't do drinks at all.
Oh wow. Okay.
They didn't do.
But-
I didn't hear fried chicken yet.
Yeah, they did fried chicken. My bad.
I'm about to say,
My-
now, you
my
know good and well.
They did fried chicken. They didn't do no watermelon though. But
They bet not.
but again, I think that's why they even hesitated on the fried chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like because of that reason.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't want to stereotype them to that type of
Right.
food.
If
You
I
know
was
what I'm
them, I would stay clear from food in general.
that's why we got the glasses on. Like y'all mess up. You mess up, we're coming for you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
what up, Kane? Appreciate you coming. Kane back again. Y'all 3 times. That's what's up. Yeah, shout outs to y'all real quick. Shout outs to Trinell, Brand Smith, both moderators. Good looking. See y'all as usual. Jay, thank you for coming through as usual. Exodia, appreciate you here. Squared, what's up? How you doing, man? I'm happy y'all are here. Ipsters is here too from the other side of the pond. Appreciate you coming through as well. Yeah, so that's how it's been going, man. It's crazy. it's crazy how they treat Black History Month. But like it's a blue collar job, and hi man,
Right.
it's a blue collar job, and it's just so like one of those. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
eggshells
Okay.
all the time. Because part of me was thinking like even too like Chinese New Year is around this time too.
Yeah.
So,
It already
it's going on
passed.
now.
Yeah,
It's
it already
passed already.
passed.
Yeah.
so I was like, what do y'all go do?
The
for
year of
that?
the dragon.
Hey,
And-
it got me a whole bunch of sales, sir. Like
It was like,
everything was like lunar year sales going on this past week.
Yep.
They was not trying to have that. They was like, you know what? Let's just stick to one race right now. We'll get them next time, maybe. We'll alternate. Alternating years. So we got Jack in the building, of course. Vito's in the building, as usual. So we'll go ahead and move to our icebreaker. I told you I was going to do something a little bit different this week. Usually is what games are y'all playing? You already know what I'm playing anyway. So, but let's do what game What game on your hype meter for this year is your least? How is that? How do I want to word that? A
So you
game
want to
that you
say?
plan on getting, but it's like your least hype, like you have the least hype for this game.
So So you saying I'm looking? I'm going to pick it up, but I'm not too hyped about it.
Yeah, you're not as hyped as like maybe the other games that's in your list.
Oh, okay. So
Gotcha.
it's on the list, but it's at the bottom of said list.
Right,
Gotcha.
right.
Okay. Ooh. Wow. Does it have to be like a new release, or it just be something that I'm copping this year?
I mean, it's something that you're looking forward to. Yeah, this year,
Um,
2024.
let's see. Okay, I got one. This is gonna be weird, and it's only because I played the game before. I never
Mhm.
owned it. A friend of mine owned it when I was actually staying with him back in like 2021, and he has a geeked out PC. Like he's one of those that he don't really game, but he got the
Mhm.
money to buy it, so he just gonna do it. So like he got like the decked out PC with the Alienware screen, the whole nine yards,
Oh,
with a
Yeah.
wow.
Sonos Roam speaker plugged up to like it's ridiculous,
You trying to go full?
like ridiculous. But the game he put me on, and it's a very simplistic game that I'm gonna cop because I just got the ROG Ally, is American Truck Simulator. So
Mm,
Really?
it's a
okay.
game that
Okay.
if you have a racing wheel
Mhm.
and you also got like the shifter, amazing. Like
I can imagine.
so I already had like the whole racing wheel seat and the racing wheel with the gear shifter, but it was for my PlayStation at the time. And as you know, for controllers and things are like, for whatever reason, they can't make these things universal.
Mhm.
So the moment the PS5 was gone, is either you played on PS5 or PC. So I
Mm.
kind of lucked out, and now that I have the ROG Ally with a dock, I can plug it up to that and then still, do my thing. So
Right.
I'll be copping that because it's on sale. They're giving you like almost everything that's typically like $50, but they're giving it to you for $11 up
Okay.
until the 20th. So yeah, I'll be doing my American truck thing here pretty soon.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta you gotta, man. There's sometimes, so like, okay, for like instance, obviously we know like the Harry Potter, like when we had that on day one, I think
Hmm.
even like the first couple times that we played it on the channel, like I had the whole outfit, the whole 9 yards, like I was
Hmm.
in there, we was in it. You gotta at least one time get the trucker hat out, get your accent going and everything. And, woo, we about to
See,
go
that's official with me. I'm from Alabama, so I already know what it is.
Yeah.
get the hard shift stuff like a plane shift, like like one of them.
Yeah, I'm about to say I ain't gonna I ain't gonna go to the dip, but I get my soda, just hold it down.
Hey, get sunflower seeds instead of dip.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
for
get
sure.
this
Yeah.
and your cup ready.
Oh yeah, my big gulp. Got
Yeah.
I got a 7-Eleven around here. I can go get one.
Always got a bite to the side.
Yep. If I can find me some straw, I'll be good.
Hmm.
Oh man. Okay, Vito. What about yours?
Um, so I was contemplating Skull and Bones being it, but I actually played that trial this morning, and it's not for me. So not Skull and Bones.
I saw Sansom thugging through
I've been having a blast with that game.
Really, you are like the
Yeah.
only one that's been having fun.
I know
Right.
it's weird. I don't. It's weird. We'll get into it, but go ahead. Go ahead.
But other than that, I mean, there's really not. Probably that Dragon Ball Z Sparkle.
Oh, Sparky.
The Sparking Zero.
Zero,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't
That
seen
might-
enough on it to like really, like.
I don't need to see nothing, sir.
Yeah.
I know it's from the Budokai era. It's Dragon Ball. That's all I need. I'm good.
Yeah.
But I'm a simp like that for Dragon Ball, so it is.
I mean, I love Dragon Ball too, but I'm like,
I gotta see a
y'all
little
gonna-
more. I gotta see
Are
what
y'all
they
gonna?
doing.
Yeah, like, are y'all gonna try and trick me and be like, this is the new? We bringing Tekaishi back, and really it's like more of like Xenoverse, and then I'm like, oh,
I don't know, cause like even though Xenoverse like 1 didn't do it for me, 2 was okay, and I think the biggest thing with Xenoverse was more on the lines they didn't stick with the story, like they made their
Yeah.
own thing. So I think that's where it appeals to me the most. But I understand what you're saying as far as the battle mechanics, but
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, if it's anything like the old ones, then yeah, I guess I'm good too.
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling about it. That's why I have it on that list. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna pick it up, but
But you like,
I don't know how to feel about it. I'm gonna wait maybe. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay. So mine. Oh, by the way, what up, Triple M? What up, Dark Void? Appreciate y'all both coming through. I see y'all. I saw y'all hop in the chat. Actually, let me read some of these off. Triple M watching live. Can't have the chat. Okay, that's cool. Andre said he doesn't have one FS category. Good enough. He said Dark Void said this is tough because there are hardly any games that I'm interested in yet. Fair enough. Jay Big
it's
says,
tough this year, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I'm with them.
Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. That's probably one that I'll pick up. But it's actually not on my like day one pickups.
Yeah.
Unless there's literally nothing else that comes around it,
Yep.
and like I got the free time. So, and then everybody's saying what's up. Oh, Zodia said there's no but after I left Tranquility. Exactly. Yeah, you know.
You know what it is.
Squared said it's been a long time since Tenkaichi 3, so there's some skepticism as Sparking Zero will not only hold up but be better. Yeah, I think that's my feelings on it too.
Here's the thing too, right? You know, I think this looked like they were going the Kakarot fighting engine, so hopefully they clean it up a little bit for sure. But going back and playing it myself, I kind of preferred Budokai 3 over Tenkaichi because it was on the side opposed to like the 3D. Yeah.
Which is weird because I'm not huge on what's the one now?
Fighter Z.
Fighter Z. Yeah, I'm not huge on Fighter Z.
I hate that one. I hate it.
Yeah.
I played it and I hate it.
Yeah, but Budokai 3, I don't know. That was magic. That was magic. Like that was a perfect game. They had yeah.
Breakers was actually fun. You play Breakers or
Breakers.
what's it called?
Breakers.
That's the survival one.
Oh, that's the survival one.
Yeah.
How was that? Because when I saw it, I'm like, why?
Is that the one where you all like
surprisingly
kind of human-ish and you trying to stay away from like Frieza or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like you still pick your race too. Like you can pick if you're because you're actually you're playing two roles. So you're playing the victim and you're playing the hero, and then you have the villain that's chasing after you.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So like the
Interesting.
hero part, like you gotta like get to certain spots. Like first you kind of start off at each round like with nothing, and so you got to get to certain spots, collect this, collect that. Once you collect this, I forgot what it was, but it's like this box or something. It's like you're trying to get back to that where you're supposed to be at. That's when you're able to get powers and fight whatever that villain is real quick. And
so you got to
can
do
like,
what you got to do fast as you can before you can
pretty
Right.
much. Yeah.
Dang.
It was fun. It was a fun concept.
Okay. I like that better than what I thought I was thinking, because I was thinking it was just like another, what are like
Death by Daylight.
Yeah, those
and the Friday the 13th games.
Yeah.
It's like, you remember how when we first saw the Cell Saga, how that made you feel?
Yeah. When they
like how creepy
hurry
that
up,
was.
man! Come on!
Yeah, you gotta hurry up and come on.
Where you at?
Yamcha got dealt with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He turned around and got killed.
That
Piccolo,
man trained and then got punched dead in the chest.
Yeah. Right in the chest.
And it was just creepy. It was scary. Like it was like that's how the game tries to, make you feel. Except it's Perfect Cell. It's powered up Frieza, and it's like I believe it's not Kid Buu. It is Kid Buu.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. All right. Square said I plan on finally getting Splatoon 3 this year, but I'm not too hyped. But it's been way too long since I played 2. So when I have the time, hopefully, that 2015
So
hype kicks in.
as a like an advocate Splatoon 3 person, 3, while great and I would say better than 2, it didn't hold me as long. But with that DLC getting ready to drop here in a couple of days, I might start back up with just that for that DLC alone.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know what it was. Like 2, me and my son went heavy with 2, and
I
then when
don't
I
know
got
what it
3, I
is
was just like,
either.
I don't know. It didn't stick with me.
It's not like a burn. It's not like a
No.
burnout
Mm-mm.
particularly. Man, you know what I really think it is? I think it's the Call of Duty syndrome, but not in the burnout way. It's like if you fall behind, your interest like
Oh yeah, you're done.
yeah,
Yep.
wanes really fast. And I learned
Mhm.
that lesson with 2. Like I was all in day 1 on 2, and I
Mhm.
think I may even missed a week, and I was like, dang,
Oh yeah, people gonna be on. I mean, there's no way to catch up. Like, cause there's
no.
people that treat this game like they're World of Warcraft. Like this is
Yeah,
all they play.
esports games, straight
Yeah.
up. Yeah, man. Kane said Star Wars Outlaw would be cool if you could choose your race or create a character. Sick of playing games that like that without having the option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought we were
Yeah.
past that.
I'm
Right.
kind of surprised that we have not gotten a Star Wars game that has really pushed for a character creation like that outside of the MMO genre.
Yeah. Because
You
I
know
think
what I mean?
KOTOR was the last
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Okay.
That's and that was back in like 20.
That was some time ago, bro.
Yeah, like it's been quite a while, and they've had a lot of DLCs since then. And I don't know
Yeah.
anybody who plays those games, but
Mhm.
it's one of those World of Warcraft games. Like
Right.
now that they have all that DLC and stuff like that,
Mhm.
the want to get in those games is like zero. So,
Right.
for me, I probably would have said Skull and Bones, but now I own Skull and Bones. Um, I'm I was gonna say Eiyuden Chronicles, but I'm actually kind of hyped about that because honestly, if I can be
Yeah, me too.
completely honest, I have not yet picked up a 2D, a HD 2D game yet. So not
HD2.
Octopath,
So
not Triangle Strategy. I
really?
haven't even picked up even Star Ocean, and I was planning on picking that up. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, not even Live Alive. So this would be my first like bought experience. Like I played the demo of those, but this would be
Gotcha.
my first bought experience. Maybe Black Myth actually. As ironic as that sounds, Black.
Oh, day one for me. That's
It's day 1 for me too. But
I'm waiting on that.
I think with me, the reason why that's probably the least of my hype is probably because I'm not huge on that like the soul style games. Like
Me either. Yeah.
they just I don't know. I don't know. I don't have time like that to practice and learn and understand. And
Right.
that's part of gaming. You know, like
Yeah.
that's part of gaming. I used to do that all the time as a younger individual, but like as an older guy, you got to find a different way to keep my interest.
And that's what I'm
like,
finding out. That's what I'm finding out. Like, as much as I see some of these games, the moment that I know it's a time investment, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm going back to Yu-Gi-Oh! Because like that's something I can jump in real quick, do what I got to do, and then jump out.
Yeah,
But some of these games, if I jump out and then I come back in, I'm like, hold on, that button does what again? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's why I struggle. Like I haven't even bought a fighter yet. You know, like I haven't bought Street Fighter 5. I haven't bought Tekken. Yeah, not Mortal Kombat, and all three of those. Like I can easily tell you, I love those games to death. But
You can see me get my tail every Thursday whooped on Tekken.
And I watch those. I watch those, and I'm like, cool. I can watch somebody else play them and still get that kind of enjoyment. But I can't play those myself because I don't have the time to play them.
right.
So, and even if I wanted to, like, I'll just go back and grab what was the Tekken for Wii U. Like, I'll just go back there, play 2 matches.
Tag.
Yeah, Tekken Tag.
Tag.
Too.
Yeah.
So I'll just play that for like 5 minutes and be like, okay, I got my fill, and then just and go on.
I'm glad I'm not alone on that because I mean it's at this point now to where I even asked Jay, I was like, yo, I feel like I'm like falling out of gaming, like because really nothing's sticking, but in reality, it's like you don't have time. So like I'm trying to find time for something, whether it's taking a break from work, dealing with the kids, girlfriend, house hunting, all this other stuff that's taking place. And while I'm like, okay, let me sit down and get comfortable, I start to realize that's why I like, while I hate 2K, it's a love-hate relationship, because I can turn it on and I can go hoop a couple games and then I'm good. Like,
Yep.
it doesn't require too much of my time or too much of an investment to where we're like, say, for example, looking at Tales of Arise, another game that's on sale and it's also coming to Game Pass next week. I would play the demo. Seems fun, but I know I'm not going to invest the time. I know I'm not.
Yep.
So I don't even waste my time, and I hate it because I know I'm missing so many good games. But it's just what it is when you start getting a little get up there. It is what it is.
It's like, and like we've seen so many like RPGs come around, and that's the other thing too. Like I love HD 2D. I love the way it looks.
Yeah.
But if I already have a RPG that's like already set up for me, having multiple ones, they already don't get that much faith. Like Starfield, like I haven't really picked up Starfield that much because I have.
You was on it too.
Yeah, he was on it. Me too. Yeah.
And I'm still playing it. It's not like I don't like it any less. I just have other games that I have to finish. Like
I totally fell off. I got
really.
Yeah. I think that's because I got 2 profiles on it. So it kind of it's almost like the problem I ran into when I had like 4 profiles for the Harry Potter game. You know what I mean? Like one of them I felt like I had to complete all the way, and then the other one I felt like I had to, but not really. And then the other, I was like, I'm gonna take my time on it. I'm gonna come back to it.
Right.
Do it. Come back. And that's how I started doing Starfield. So then once I started seeing that Starfield had a lot to explore, I was like, because like with the Harry Potter stuff, I already did 1 playthrough, so I know where to go. You know what I'm saying? Where to get stuff.
Right.
Where with Starfield, there's stuff like you go this way, that way, this universe, this solar system, that solar system. There's all these solar systems. Even though there's not much to do or not much to like really like explore,
you can find.
It's a lot. It's a lot to do.
Yeah.
It's still a lot. It's weird. So then I started thinking, I'm like, that's time consuming. I got all these other games coming out, so I got a lot of backlogs, and that happens to be, even though I started it, that happens to be on my backlog now. So,
Right.
Yeah,
I think that's what I kind of run into is just timing. Once I feel like this is gonna be time consuming, then I'm like, whatever. So that's why when I start playing like Marvel, that Marvel Midnight Suns, that was like a boom, 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 boom. I was like, oh snap. You know,
I keep hearing about that.
Yeah, it was straight. It was straight.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about like card turn-based games, but as far as like that being an introduction for me, that was straight.
Good weather bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And they want 60 for this?
Which you got
Midnight
it
Suns?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Because it came out last year.
I got it on sale during the holidays. So yeah, I had to catch that thing on for like 30 something. It was like 30 something on PSN or something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
but it was at that
60
time.
for this. All right.
Changed that. Go ahead.
No, I was saying it was a 2K game, so I don't know why it's that much. So
Because it's 2K.
Right. Changed that Gungrave Gore is a fun one if you like anime. I mean, it's decently solid. Jay said I don't like the 2D HD look. Squared said I still have Octopath 2 in the backlog. See? Rest in peace, creator of Aeon Chronicles and Grandia.
Really?
He passed away.
Oh, wow.
Now we definitely got to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It's
Street
gonna sell.
Fighter 30. Yeah, I know, and that's why another reason why I need to get it, because this is gonna go out real fast, especially on the Switch, and then turn into one of those like, oh, everybody bought it for the Switch, so it's not not gonna be worth that much, and then it's gonna silently go away, and then everybody's gonna be like, oh, it's a rare commodity, so you need to go ahead and get it.
Yeah.
Kay says Street Fighter 30th anniversary collection is nice, like 12 different Street Fighting games on there. Jay said I bring my Switch Lite to work and play simple 2D or top-down games. Dark Voice said I brought my Switch to work with me one time. It got stolen, never again. That
Got
sucks.
booked.
I
Yeah.
used to bring my Switch. I used to bring my Switch to my old job, and we would hook it up during lunchtime. And I'd be like, "I'll hand y'all booty. Do not try me in any game. Do not try me." And I used to. There was a dude who used to talk the most stuff, man. Every single time, like, "Oh, you can't hold me and Smash. You can't hold me and Smash." And we're like, "Bro, you don't want these problems. Don't try me." hand him the L's and Smash, and be like, "All right." Next day, or afterwards, be like, "All right, yeah, Smash not really my game," but he's like,
Right.
"You don't want to see me in no Mario Kart, bro. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. You don't want to see me in that either."
Man, look, that game right there. I mean, I get crazy in that game for real.
Yeah,
But
that's the perfect Thanksgiving game.
Now I'll tell you
What,
one that
Kart?
I just started up with. Yeah, Kart. But I tell you one I just started up was the Disney Speed, little speedster
Oh, their
game.
version of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It's solid, huh?
It's impressive because I mean when I started playing it initially I wanted to play it on my Odin, which is like an Android device.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason they did like a beta and then they still haven't given a date when they're releasing on Android, but it's on PC. So
Okay.
I downloaded it on PC, and of course they start you off with Mickey and you can select another character. So I went with Mulan, and the fact that they have
Good choice.
yeah, like Mario Kart has like the heavy characters, you have like the regular characters and the light characters. To where with them they have like tricksters, they have combat, they have speedsters, so that they have the different types. So for example, like with Mickey, he's a speedster, so his speed out the gate is ridiculous.
Right.
To where like with Mulan, she's a trickster, so her drifting and her doing certain tricks in the air is what's going to give you a lot of boosts. And then you got the combat ones to where if somebody throwing items at you, you can kind of take that a little bit more than your average person. So I mean, and then also they have upgrades to the powers depending on how you level up your character, and then also too the music craziness. Like they remix the music for those Disney levels.
Yeah.
So yeah, they own to something. I think if they keep at it, I think they could really be onto something because they got the character lineup, and that character list is stupid. Like it's ridiculous. So and then with cross platform between mobile, PC, and then I think it's going to come to the consoles too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's legit. I'm liking what I'm playing so far. I just hate the fact that there is some microtransaction, but you don't have to do it. Like, but you can. Yeah.
I may have to.
That's one. And then the kids too.
I don't have Mario Kart for the reason why I'm waiting for whenever in life 9 comes out. I don't want to buy 8, and 8 is going to be full price.
Yes, sir.
I mean? If I go and buy it, and then when I buy it, they be like Mario Kart 9, and I'm like,
yes, sir. That's how it works. I have that curse too.
I had that curse. I broke it.
How do you break it? Because I'm tired of it.
I get it as soon as it come out.
See, I had 8.
I had it for the Wii U, so that's why I never moved over because I thought like, oh, they're bringing 8 to the Switch so they can get a little extra low sales, and then they're gonna come out with the 9. And every single year, I'm like, nah, just wait.
No.
Those people keep buying it. No, sir.
Yeah. Coming out with DLC, and I'm like, okay, but that's gonna be a 9. No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. So, and now here we are, 7 years later. So, Trinell said, "Whip your butt, Sandstorm. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead and try me. Yeah." Jay said he sucks at Smash. That's part of the reason Sandstorm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let me get it for one. Yeah. Yeah. So, real quickly, because I usually do these in separate things as my feedback or my first impression, as to say. I felt like I played enough of that game to know how I feel about it. Skull and Bones, I do like it. I do like it a lot. I had to get with somebody on Twitter though. Geronimo's not here, so shout outs to Geronimo. Because he actually asked a question, and that's why it came up on my Twitter. But somebody said they had bought, or no, they didn't buy it. It was gifted to them. Skull and
Okay.
Bones was gifted to them. I think maybe for a review or something like that. I didn't read the whole thing. But his next comment was already unsubscribed or already.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, yeah. So, and then so I'm like, okay, let me go down the line and see what these fools is talking about. And most of the people were complaining about how the game didn't have like you actually swashbuckling and fighting and stuff like that, and you couldn't get on the ship and loot and all this
Yeah.
other stuff.
Oh, you can't?
No, no, you can't. However,
See, that's what you missed on Black Flag.
and okay, and that piece I understand. So if you were mad, okay. So if you were mad that this game was not Black Flag, and I think that's originally how they made the game seem back when we saw it in 2015.
Mm.
We got a in-depth gameplay look at it in 2018 or 2019 on this game, right? And then we got another one, or they revamped it, gave us the in-depth in 2018, 2019. Then last year, I think I want to say even the beginning of, no, not last year, 2022. At the end of 2022, we got another in-depth gameplay. Between the 18 and 2022, there was no mention of like swashbuckling or they didn't even show anything like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So I look for it.
So
Yeah.
why are you looking for it? And why is that the first complaint? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you knew that wasn't in there before, how do you use that as a complaint now? The game's trash because it doesn't have this. But
Well,
they never
you know
said
what?
what.
I think the fact that they took so long to release this and they showed it off so many times, you're thinking they're actually maybe adding it in there. Maybe, you know what I'm saying?
And you know what we call that? Entitlement.
True. Because if they never told you, they never showed you.
Why
Yeah.
would you expect it to be like it's the okay? If you were expecting they never told you and then they showed you, then it's like, oh my gosh, I got extra. I thought it was going to be
Yeah.
this and I got extra. But you can't get mad because they didn't show you something that never existed in the game. You know what I mean?
That's true. That's true.
So what about this? So say that I don't really care too much about what they're not showing me, right? And I have a high expectation of I want a true pirate game, right? And my expectations aren't met. Is that fair enough to say that I'm complaining because my expectations aren't met and I've been waiting so long for this game? Or like, are you saying like basically because like this is what I'm seeing is the Starfield effect. You know what I'm saying? People were expecting No Man's Skies from Starfield.
Right.
When actuality they didn't show all this stuff that people were expecting, right?
Right.
But
So,
you end up playing it. Oh, go ahead.
No, okay, so I would say that between this and Starfield is similar, but like in how similar it is, it's so much farther apart. So
Okay.
y'all done it now. Y'all done it now. Y'all done it now.
Nah, blame Damian Lillard. Blame him.
Oh, yeah, because he just won. He killed
Yeah.
it. I had Trey, but then
Man.
Dame came and killed that.
The man won by the money ball, but it's all good.
So what I was gonna say is it's as similar as it is as far apart. So when you were looking at Starfield, remember when we broke this down, he actually says that this game isn't set up like that, but the way that he words it, you would never really catch it unless you sat down and reviewed over what he said. This game never gave the impression that you would actually be doing that. There was like no scene where you saw a person with a controller. I wouldn't even say with the controller. You've never seen a piece where you see somebody just, doing one of these and, fighting with it. You never saw that. That was never in the game at all. So if you were expecting a pirate game, like a fully fledged pirate game, and you thought that this was going to be it, I don't know why you didn't do enough research to realize that that's what it was going to be. Or you probably, or like most people, you just assumed that it was going to be automatically in here, but they very much showed that this was.
I had to go get my summoning tools.
They've been talking about the ritual.
let me light a candle and then we can candle in the fight stick. They'll give me.
You never, they never like fully said that you were ever going to get it. For the most part, they just said it was a pirate ship RPG.
So okay, all right. So I'm with you on everything you just said, right? And I think once again, like we think about pirates, and so we all think about sword fighting, stealing ships, doing the whole 9 yards. So if this is what you expected the game to be, yeah, that's on us. But what are you doing in this game then? If that's not what you're doing,
so
it's like ship to ship battle. That's what
it
is.
is.
Yeah.
So it's battleship, but
Battleship, basically, yeah.
Okay.
You go around, you collect stuff, you try to become as great as you possibly can, get with your other people so you can have a crew, take over the waters, do different missions. That's basically it. Make your guy look pimped out. I finally got the beard in the game. So
Hey, I gotta say though, those customization options is very limited too.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think
would
what
say-
bothers me about this the most is that that's literally what they showed you in the demo like 3 years ago. Was exactly what you saw there. So we were thinking that if they're showing us this early, then when the game comes out, there'll be much more.
There has to
than
be
that.
more. Yeah.
But that was apparently, I guess that's the whole game. I don't know. Sandstorm, you already streamed it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
streamed it twice. The appearance of your own person is really, really limited. So I don't know how that worked out, especially at the beginning. They didn't even have a long beard, and I'm like,
Nah.
automatic fail.
They,
Like,
they had the braid joint. They had the braid
yeah,
joint.
they had the braid joint, and it was a short braid, but they had the braid joint. And I'm like, I gotta go with that. But then, like today, I literally went on an island and I'm searching around for. I think I was just dropping off some ale or something like that, and lo and behold, this woman had a long beard. And I'm like, oh, hallelujah! Let me go trade this in real quick.
Right.
But
So did you stream it on PC or was it on Xbox?
PC?
PC.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So, but I mean,
Hey.
I'm still enjoying the game. I'm still having fun. I think this is just a good game to get with your buddies and knock down some ships real quick.
That's one thing that I did appreciate. I saw like other people in the community and cross play and all that other stuff, or cross platform or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was seeing other people at the same spot, and I'd be like, "Hey, I don't know what to do right here." Oh yeah, just
Yep.
do this and do that. I'm like, all right,
Yep.
cool, appreciate it.
Yep. Because they'll definitely help you out. Some of that AI is a lot tougher than I realized, and I went in a ship battle a couple times and got dropped so quick. So they don't play around. I'd be like, man, and they be ramming you like crazy. You're like, man, just
Right.
get off my.
Hey, you got to play Black Flag. Matter of fact, Odyssey was actually a better game with the naval situation.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Assassin's
Yeah.
Creed Odyssey.
Yeah. They were pretty dope with that. Hey, I see that speed storm. You said it's good, Jack.
Yeah. For what I'm playing so far, I'm enjoying it. Because I mean,
Alright.
like I said, I don't have to spend on anything, and then even when I unlock, which that was kind of weird too, like you play some of the single player, then you unlock multiplayer, and then there's like other types of multiplayer you can unlock, but you got to get to like level 3, which doesn't take you long. But I mean, it takes level 3 to get there. But even going up head to head with some people, you can you can tell the difference on who's playing like with controllers and who's not, because the people that wouldn't realize real fast, those of us that was drifting like crazy, they dropped immediately. They're like, yeah, I'm not doing this. So they dropped quick. But even with me like doing everything I possibly could as a level 3, that level 6, I mean his upgrades, I just couldn't catch them. Like you gotta level up your character for sure, like 100%.
For sure.
Okay, so the reason, let's get to the main event of when media dictates your narrative. This is an interesting one, man. I'm glad you came through, Shadow, because I know I like after the Sony thing came around, and then I listened to, I think I want to say Rich's little video which is like the first time I listened to one maybe in about a good 6 or 7 months.
Really?
I
got the chickens and the cucumbers, dude. I dropped. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see,
I
it's
thought he
hard.
was
It's
quitting
hard.
YouTube. I thought he
Yeah.
was quitting along with everybody else.
It was hard for me to really watch that one. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me go ahead and hear what you have to say. And it sounds like everybody is a little more unanimous on the situation. I was actually gonna run a little bit of his video, but I don't care to anymore.
Yeah.
So basically, if you guys don't know, which my panel knows, but if you guys in the chat don't know, not too long after or before the Sony or the Microsoft, the whole Microsoft live thing that they had,
Xbox podcast.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sony had announced that they were entering the later half of their console generation and that they weren't meeting sales. And so everybody has been, and when I say everybody on Twitter has been going crazy about how, Sony has been defeated, what happened to the PlayStation 5 Pro, yada, 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 yada. And, this is going crazy. This is one thing. This is actually one of the biggest pieces that I want to say. And I know everybody is like expecting me to like go crazy and be like, yeah, Sony, y'all lost. Da, 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 da. But here's the reality. We are in what year is this for PS5?
The 3rd or 4th year?
It'll be year 4 in November.
So going into 4 in November, right? So PlayStation 1. How many years was that? 6?
It was 6 years before it was replaced by PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean PlayStation 3, sorry.
So PlayStation 2, how many years to PlayStation 3?
2000 to 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. And then PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4?
Well, I think you have to do PlayStation. Yeah, you said PlayStation 3 to 4?
Yeah. 2006.
That was 7 to 8.
7
to 8, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about PlayStation 5 now entering its 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
That's over the hump now,
So
right?
I think the problem that comes with that one is because what happened last generation, and that was those pros.
Yeah, I think that's what
mid-gen refreshes. Yeah,
expect at this point is that's going to be a thing from now on.
And to be fair, it was extended during the 7th generation too, because they copied what we did, so that kind of effectively was their pro by having PlayStation Move and having Xbox Connect. That extended that generation for them as well, because they were on the way out the door. Also, they were not going to be, longer than 6 years.
Right.
Yeah. So we're looking at as far as being over half the generation on its way, and they're seeing the sales numbers going down. I think it's more so the sales numbers, but as far as the years go, I don't know what y'all was expecting. Like this was to be around for like 2028, 2029 or something like that. But
I think it was just how things happen. I think ultimately that's the problem. Like I agree, it's perfect timing. So they'll start calling out to people at Xbox saying, "Hey, by this holiday season, they'll tell you how they're going to do like this graphical leap for the next generation console." So it's about that time. I think it's due in part 1, Nintendo, and then 2, the put out for these consoles. So when you look at Nintendo made 5 or 6 with the Wii U, and then they came with the Switch while the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X were still around. And then here come these next consoles after everything happened, and the Switch is still here, and it's still killing as if it came at the same time. But then when you look at both PlayStation and Xbox, what they do every generation, hey, we're gonna get here, we're gonna do this, we're gonna give you this. They ain't released much, not for real. No. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm still waiting, and then you look at your calendar and like, yo, we in year 4 already? Like, like we're waiting. Like what's going on?
I think a couple people said that. Like, is it really fourth year.
It don't feel
yeah.
like it. And I think the one part, like we all said before, like, hey, they shouldn't have dropped these consoles when they did. So I agree with you. Yeah, it's about that time. But for you to say, okay, we're at the tail end and we really haven't given you anything, and the big game that may show us what these consoles were supposed to do was Grand Theft Auto. I don't know.
I'll just say this. In terms of first party support, and even in some cases third party support, at this point in time, Wii U had more content for both.
It did. Yeah.
Compared to both of these platforms. So it's just weird to me. Like, the only thing you have to say is, hey, if this was Nintendo with this output right now, what would you be saying?
They're done.
They're done. Right. But magically, since it isn't them, now we got all these excuses and we're juggling. Well, it's third party. And I'm like, but there's a Steam Deck. Those third party games are also on Switch, usually most of the time. You got PC that gets all of these games as well. So what are we doing? Like, oh, I want to play the next whatever game. And I'm like, if you're talking about a Sony game, that's going to be on PC in a year. So
exactly.
Greatness awaits and waits. I think what people don't want to accept is two things. Nintendo is a giant, how can I say this? A giant crowbar in the market. And what they thought would be running the market the way that they wanted to, third parties having a full handle on how gaming press issues media and distributes and mimics how people respond to the market, it's not working anymore. With the rise of social media, anybody being able to tell you what a game is day one, all that stuff is kind of shattered now. You can't go to a game review and then that game review tells you this game is the greatest and a whole bunch of people run out and buy it. They're going to want to see Joe Blow down the street or Joe Blow with only 300 followers on Instagram or whatever tell you really how the game is, the copy that he bought from the store. Yeah. And once you see that and you're like, I'm starting to see the things that this Shadow Fox guy talked about in 2014. These games aren't really doing it's like they're talking about these graphics and stuff and they're like, oh, I get all this ray tracing until I hit this invisible wall. I have all these polygons until I hit this invisible wall. This looks really visible out here and it looks beautiful, and that thing in the background, I can't go touch it. But in this so-called underpowered Wii U and this so-called underpowered Switch, everything in this Zelda game I can go touch. So it seems to me like all these things, all these buzzwords that throw at you, those are the gimmicks. But then you talk about Nintendo, all they do is sell, they have controllers and their gimmicks and their blah, blah, blah. Graphics is a gimmick.
It is.
All the buzzwords you use to sell graphics is a gimmick. And it's running out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's funny you say that because when you look at the PlayStation 4, that was the thing, right? When we were going into PlayStation 4, oh, we got to have it's the technology is so crazy now. We're at a whole nother level, and they're tapping into the 4K, so it's the power, and everybody wanted to rush and get that. And granted, they got 116 million off of that. But even if you see in that time, the time was already starting to slowly shift. And so when we got into the 9th generation, they were like, but the graphics are even graphic-ier, you know what I'm saying? So you get the crazy graphics.
HDR.
You're getting the crazy graphics. And it was like, but these are the same game as we still doing it the same way as the PS4 and the Pro. Like Spider-Man, now granted, Spider-Man I'm sure was a great game, was an amazing game, but really, if you watered that down, would it not be able to play on the PlayStation 4?
Exactly. Yeah.
True. The same mechanics, everything, the same engine.
I'll do you one better. In 1080p, if you double the PS4's RAM and you just cache that for streaming, you have the PS5 game. It's just in 1080p.
Wow. Yeah. So
you don't even need the SSD. It's the RAM that's doing it.
That's true now. It's
Yeah,
teraflops. You can't get
gotta have the teraflops. To do what exactly? So I have these conversations all the time. People are like, well, this system on paper is weaker than this system on paper, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So you're saying that the PS5 is better than whatever Nintendo platform it is, right? I'm like, okay. So how much better is the Xbox Series X than the PlayStation 5 then, since it has more titty flops, if you will?
Right.
They don't know how to respond to that. Then I'm like, well, what are these teraflops doing? Well, because you have them, you can do whatever. And I'm like, so you're saying you can't do that with lesser than that? No, you can't. And I'm like, this game is doing it. And also, this game is on PC, and I could just get a weaker graphics card with less teraflops and still run the game. So what are you saying? It seems to me that you don't know what you're talking about, and that teraflops, which is just operations per second that you can use, are just ways that you can deliver logic in a system. And depending on how the game is written, you can need that or not need that, or you can use it for different things. In addition, are teraflops the biggest indicator of performance, or is the resolution that you're going to run the game the biggest indicator of performance? And right there, we have an impasse, because for all intents and purposes, no matter how powerful any hardware is or whatnot, if you want better performance, lower the resolution.
Yeah.
If you lower the resolution, your performance increases exponentially. Not times, exponentially. So if you're talking about one system that's running a game at 1/16th of the resolution of another platform, why are we comparing what the teraflops are?
Right.
Full stop.
Right.
Full stop. That's the conversation right there. And nobody wants to talk specs anymore then. They're like, but the numbers are higher. Yeah, but the numbers are lower here. Like pixels it has to calculate per frame.
Right.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
It's funny too. I would say it's funny too that while at the beginning of this not at the beginning of the ninth generation, when Sony and Microsoft decided to join the ninth generation, it was all about the power and everything that you could do with it. And they were really trying so hard to get everybody to move in that direction. And like here we are years later, and all the PC market is like, we got to get a handheld. Like we got to go. To a handheld.
Yeah.
That's what's actually see? That's what's actually where the market is at. If we want to get people playing, the world now is so far removed from let's just sit down and take our time and be antisocial and play this one single particular game. Like I have my PC and I have nothing against it, but it's in a room dedicated for me. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yep.
But how often do I get to play that versus my Switch? It's like night and day.
Yeah.
If you want to doubt what Nintendo is doing, Valve won't tell you how many Steam Decks they sold, but there's a whole bunch of clones that'll spawn since that. It forced Sony to make a Wii U.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Yep. Pretty much.
How else do we need to put punctuation on this? Sony made a Wii U.
That's nuts. That is nuts. When you put it that way, that is disgusting.
They trying to flip it, man. And you gonna pay for that tablet though. You ain't gonna have that tablet.
Oh yeah.
They made you pay $700 for a Wii U. That could have came in the box. I spent $350 for my Wii U, and everything came in the box. They made you buy an extra gamepad.
That's crazy.
Charge you for that.
That's
I'm sorry,
work.
but facts are facts, man. Like
it is.
That's so funny. And
with more.
And they're like, yo, you can play it anywhere. But wait. You can't play it in a hotel because you have to sign into.
Yep, and it doesn't have a browser.
Yep. And you can't play it on the airplane because But wait. And you can't play it at Starbucks because you have to sign into a browser there. So if you want to play it at home, though, like you can play it anywhere at home. We got you. We got you.
That's where they got the Wii U.
Yeah, if you want to play it at a friend's house, make sure you get the Wi. Oh wait, I guess you can't do that either. So
this is what Miyamoto meant by diminishing returns. Like look at the things they tried to sell you on. They tried to sell you on bump mapping. Oh wait, Nintendo has that, so we'll call it dot product bump mapping. I'm like, what the fuck do you think bump mapping is? You use a dot product. You have a variable scale that you use to measure colors on a wavelength. That's a dot product, and that's how you get your bump heights, right? And that's how you create a pre-rendered effect on a texture that makes it look like it has more polygons than it is, right? Mm-hmm. After that, they're like, well, no, they have that too. So let's come up with another term. We'll use parallax mapping. There's like 360 games that use that. Yeah. Anybody remember parallax mapping? It was like the biggest thing. Oh my god, Perfect Dark Zero has it. It's like on 3 walls in the game. But they were like, well, it really sells you on how 3D looks in parallax. As you move, it kind of moves with you as if we rendered it. And I'm like, yeah, you could have just rendered it. But then they're like, well, hey, so since we have these new systems now, because Nintendo just said they're going to stay with 480p, now we're doing HD. Then why are the majority of the games internal resolution 540p? I don't pay attention to that. It's upscaling to 1080i, okay? So it's HD. Okay, sure, great. That's fine. All right. Towards the end of the generation, they wanted to sell you 3D TVs. Well, this game supports 3D. Anybody playing Mortal Kombat 9 in 3D on their TV right now?
No. I mean, probably not. Right? Assassin's Creed 3 in 3D was.
Yeah. And then they try to sell you on engines. Well, this is using this version of Unreal, and this is using this version of Unreal, and this version of Unreal means you get this version of graphics. If you're using this version of DirectX, you get this version of graphics. And I'm like, DirectX is so much more than a graphics pipeline. It's an entire programming engine for everything. But of course, people try to get sold on that, and they try to equate what console had what version of DirectX, even though only Xbox consoles had DirectX. Right. They were trying to say a PlayStation had this version of DirectX shaders on. I'm like, it's OpenGL on everything that's not an Xbox. But for whatever reason, that was a conversation that was happening on forums and social media and what have you. Then we have these HDer consoles, right? Yeah. They're like, hey, 1080p, 6 frames per second, everything. We got you, right? Also, oh God, Nintendo has a system that came out first, and they're doing 1080p games. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We have hard drives in our systems. You're going to be able to stream.
Wow.
And also, our other console comes with a camera, and you can do the Connect Part 2. Right. And use it to sign in and also watch you. But the streaming app is horrible compared to having a capture card and just streaming your game.
Yeah.
The voice chat originally back then anyway sounded like a tin can in the room. Still does in some cases, depending on what platform you play on. Series X sounds a little bit better now. Everybody just uses Discord at this point. That's the
best thing to do.
Yeah. And I don't understand. Like, I was on that back in the Wii U days, so I really don't understand why anybody was still talking about, hey, the Switch doesn't have, you can't connect something directly to the Switch and then use your headset. I'm like, who does that? Right. I got a phone with a Bluetooth headset, bro. And they're like, well, why you got to use the app? Because everybody uses Discord anyway, which is also an app. On the device that you use to communicate with is dedicated for communication.
That's what it's built for.
That's what it's made
for. Why would you not defer to that? But those goalposts keep moving to say, please ignore Nintendo and pay attention to our system. That's the whole point of it. Because the whole thing you're trying to say is the things that these systems are doing are the Overton window that you should accept. But along with that, these are the other things you should accept: invisible walls, broken games day one, multiple updates, a lot of promises of vertical slices that don't end up looking like that when you get the game, lower resolutions that we originally promised. Remember, these are the HDR systems at 8th generation. Everything is 1080p, 60 frames per second. This game right here is in a higher resolution on Switch than it is on PS4.
Yep.
Right.
You can't make this shit up. And it's just, it boggles my mind that we allow this stuff to happen. And then you start talking about, well, the CPU this and the graphics pipeline this. Those are just tools that developers use. And at some point, we have to understand that all these systems are fixed and the people are not. They're the only variable in the equation. And when you have an SoC, a mobile SoC that's more capable on the CPU side than the platforms that it's succeeding, there are no excuses anymore.
That's true.
I believe the guy from Digital Foundry actually admitted it kind of like underhandedly in a way, except when he was talking to whatever podcast that was. I forgot what's the dude's name that does the podcast with MVG. I can't remember his name.
Nate.
The supposed leak source guy. I don't know. But anyway, he does his podcast, and the guy from Digital Foundry, I guess John or whatever, he's like, yeah, all those engines work on Switch. They just work. It's just you might have to use less resources here or there because of the thermal envelope. But other than that, they all work. So I'm like, Nate the hate. So, but if that's the case, why were all these complaints coming out when the system first came out? And why was nobody ever, John Litterman, why?
Litterman, yeah.
So when people were saying that developers weren't able to do things or whatever, or they had limitations and all that, why are you saying this now after the fact and you weren't saying that when the system first came out?
Right.
You know why.
So of course, it's they have to go with whatever the narrative is then at the time, as that's the topic of the podcast. Right. It's just crazy when you see it out loud and you see it on repeat out loud over and over again. But you were on my Shadowcast last time and you saw exactly what it was about Wii U, and it's just crazy. Like, you can't unsee that shit once you see it. I'm like, you really gonna watch an entire presentation, and at the end of the presentation, after they mentioned it was a new system like 7 times, at least 7 that I counted during the presentation.
Yeah.
And the first thing you're going to say is, you don't know this is a new console.
Right. Is it a console? Is it an upgrade?
And you are a veteran, not just an industry type, a veteran industry type who's been through 3 different tech organizations as a journalist. And this is what you and then we see it over and over again with him and other people, whatever, in the industry, feigning ignorance when it comes to Nintendo. And then that same topic will be had about a Sony or Xbox platform, and magically there's just look at the difference between how people talked about the thermal envelope and battery life and what you're going to get as far as resolution and performance when talking about Switch and Steam Deck. It's night and day difference. They're the exact same problems are there, and they're like, well, on Steam Deck it's okay. Well, you only get 30 minutes in this game, it's all right because battery. I'm like, but you can't understand that was the concession 5 years prior when no other system was doing what Switch was doing. Like, now, back then you got to compare it to a PS4, which needs 200 watts just to turn on.
Right.
Damn.
I would even say too. Where I was going with this? Along the lines of the double standard is that we just got the showing of what Switch is at, what, 139, something like 139 million,
right. Almost 140. Yep.
And everybody is quick to jump. we got the Nintendo people like Nintendo's winning, blah 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 blah. But then we got everybody else like, they ain't winning no war. They ain't winning nothing, blah blah blah. They're not in the same league as Sony and Microsoft. No, they're not, because they're not losing like that. But
right. There you go.
But they're like, what did my man say? It's a blue ocean strategy. So nobody's else is in that ocean because nobody else did it. But the ocean is still part of the same world. Please believe. Yep. Like y'all, they still see that. So, but no. But if it was the other way around now, Switch was losing, it would be, see, y'all got another console that is failing just like the Wii U did. Okay, so which one is it? Like, are we? Yeah. Are we on a console?
Don't forget what Perrin said when we were watching on the last podcast too. When I played it, those other two platform holders, they're lost leaders also. She said that back in what was this 2009 at the time. She was saying, the other two platforms, they're lost leaders. They're lost leaders. They don't recoup their money until well at the end of the generation if they get it. And at the end of that generation, they didn't. They were $8 billion in the whole combined. Crazy. So if Sony made any money, it was with the PS4.
Yeah.
And Microsoft is just eating everything.
I don't know.
A giant sinkhole.
Well, that's why they're. That's why they're in the situation they in now. Is like, you just got to get everything out. Just get it out. Out the door. Wholesale.
To be fair, they were doomed after 360 anyway. Because as soon as Nadella came in, he already told them what was going to happen to the platform. It's all going to Azure, and it won't have hardware anymore. That's the future of Xbox. Like I hate it for Xbox fans, but that's what it is. So expect to see more and more Xbox franchises. Expect to see rare games go on other platforms. It'll still be on Game Pass, but Game Pass eventually will not have hardware dictated to it. It will be in the cloud.
That will be the model.
Makes sense. I mean, they've kind of tested those bears already with Samsung.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I mean, and then even to like its point, right? We heard the same thing when they were talking about 2023. They were saying, hey, we were going to get out of doing cross generational games by 2023.
Yep.
We have yet to leave that. Like, games still going on PS4, games still going to Xbox One. Like, at this point, they can't afford to go to this console like by itself because one, they're bleeding money to make these games. And like I said on our show when we were watching the Xbox podcast, they have to hit reset somewhere, and they have to be okay with hitting reset. But like Shadow said, the Xbox bed has been laid already. Like, they already have a plan for Xbox, so they really don't have any way out of this. But when you look at Sony, yes, that they kind of have like a beautiful veil to where, yes, you sell hundreds of millions of consoles, but your software sales do not match up as far as your revenue, which you get back. I'm not saying you have to sell a 30. I don't say you have to sell a 20, but even if you're selling 10 million, at least recoup, if not make more back, so that way you can continue to invest in the product. And obviously that's not what they're doing. Otherwise it would have never gone to PC. Right. So I mean, you could say, I'm trying to reach more of an audience, but if you have what you needed where you are, you don't need to reach out for any more unless you're just greedy. but I mean, at this point, I mean, we know where it is. The writing's on the wall. They just invest and they pour too much into it. I feel like they move too fast. When we got into that HD era, we saw a lot of developers drop off. Like, a lot of developers died. And then when they were like, okay, 4K, and then Sony being bold enough to put 8K on that box, I'm like, slow down.
Right.
Because, like, I don't know who you trying to race against, but chill out. Because
it's the same thing with Microsoft last week when they were like, we got something more powerful on the way.
Like, if you're gonna say it's more powerful, just tell me, hey, it's more powerful in the sense to where we finally living up to the 60 frame every game situation, unless we decide to make it 30 for whatever reason. But when it really comes down to it, we should be worrying more about frame rates than we do graphical powers. Because in reality, and I think who was it? I want to say either Blandrew or someone else said this. We really haven't gotten to a point in this generation to see why we moved from PS3 and 360 as far as what these games can do. Like, not saying like graphical push, like they couldn't do what we're seeing now, of course, But when we talk about what you can do within the game, there could have been a Tears of a Tears of the Kingdom on a PS3. Like it could have been possible. It's just like we keep. It's just,
I'll say it for you. Even today, we're playing PS3 and 360 games.
Yeah, we are.
They're just higher resolutions and frame rate.
That's it, and because nothing has changed. So when you talk about pushing the envelope, like we see on Twitter, Nintendo didn't push the envelope. What do you mean they didn't push it? Like if anybody's pushing the envelope, it's Nintendo pushing the envelope on how you play these games. Because even if you look at trying to do emulation, the Wii, while it's doable, a lot of games you gotta forget because unless you got that Wiimote, you can't do nothing with it. When it comes down to Wii U, you see people with Steam Decks emulating that by plugging it up to the TV and having the bottom screen on the Steam Deck and having the top screen on the TV. Like there, you have to have specialized equipment. Even with the DS and the 3DS, you have to do a certain layout on your device to mimic two screens. You even got a Neo coming out with the Flip DS right now. That's what people are like. Oh, I can't wait to play 3DS games on the $600 device. Like it's crazy. So if anybody's pushing it forward, it's Nintendo, but they're just not pushing it forward the way you want them to, and you're not even understanding the people you're championing for are about to lose their lives based off of the stupidness that you hey, go and fight. Like keep doing what you're doing. Like, bro, I just got shot like 2 times. Keep doing it, man. You're gonna be all right. Like,
and I'll say the other thing too. Like I saw those demos when they were talking about Wii U and whatnot, and even with the Steam Deck ones, it doesn't work because you have to do it wired.
Yeah.
And even if you do it wirelessly with the ones that have the 2 screens or whatever, is the delay timed and synced the way that it is for Wii U? Because Wii U is synced where the gamepad draws everything first. So when you look up and down, there's no relative change that you can tell as a person. Depending on emulation, they'll screw that up to where everything is drawing at the same time and you can't react in time to play these games. So these people are really just posting this stuff just to brag more than anything else.
And they don't go past the start screen.
now live stream, you playing the whole thing.
They don't make it past the start screen at the first level. It don't happen.
We got somebody else.
You never really see them doing it. I wanted to respond to a comment in the chat about the PS4 thing. So yeah, it's 200 watts to boot up on average for a PS4. Around 120 to 180 for PS5, but they do have rest mode. So when you put them in rest mode, they sip wattage at that point. So it's like 3 or 4. But that initial boot up is When your PS4 sounds like a jet engine,
airplane that's going,
until thank God for this little lovely stuff right here. This stuff is a godsend. Freaking Arctic Silver, just go in there and reapply that every once in a while and make sure you clean everything out over there. And it sounds like launch day, but it gets really loud and it draws a lot of power unless you use those rest modes or turn your PlayStation completely off. I turn my PlayStation 5 completely off every time I stop playing it. I don't want it to draw anything.
Unless you want that nasty electric bill.
Yeah, I have other ways to charge a controller. I don't need a system to charge a controller.
Right. What up, Miss Taz? New person, 98. Miss Taz 98. Everybody in the chat, say what's up. Appreciate you coming through. Never seen you on here, so we appreciate you showing up. Got to give shout outs. She said, none of these realistic game devs at the current cost couldn't emulate top K gameplay. It would cost $4 million. Yeah, facts.
No, they would try to. They would try to and find a way to mess it up big time because it'll be a Bethesda game.
Right. They all have their own way of messing it up. Like if it was
they do.
If it was Square Enix, they would come out with something like this. It would cost about 50, 60, 70 million, and then they would spend another 200 million with OSTs and and different movies trying to line up and hype you up for the game. Yeah, they all got different ways.
They tried it in Assassin's Creed too, which is crazy to me because Nintendo showed them how to use their own system of scanning the area, and they showed you how to unlock a map better. I was like, come on, bro. Like, that's just Nintendo just. Oh, and also, hey, all of you developers on Xbox and Xbox 360, this is how you use Havok. This is how
which
you.
is
Oh
nuts.
yeah,
We decided to use it for you. Here you go.
That was nuts. So that
Well, we're
already
not
let me
done
know
yet. Here's
they
Tears of
about
the
to,
Kingdom.
they about to do
Yeah.
magic with Unreal Engine because I think what this Super Princess Peach,
Yeah. It's
she
Unreal.
was doing Unreal, and then Pikmin 4 did Unreal. So that let me know they playing around with Unreal and about to show out.
Yeah, Yoshi's
But then-
Woolly World, I think, was UE4,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Remember when we
Man.
had Garage? Well, we're gonna start using yours now. Let's see. We was playing in our own garage and we got tired, so we about to come over to your house and see.
Right.
Yeah. They build these massive game engines that require, you know, tens of thousands of people to operate and build a game all at the same time. And all it does is make the project even bigger, and then you have more, which means you have more problems, which means you have more mission creep and scope creep down the line. And testing is all it's a cat and mouse game. You can never get to testing because the project is always expanding.
Yeah.
And it becomes a thing where the product you're trying to sell really is a continued game development because it's free money while you're developing the game. You're still in the studio, you're still hired, you're still spinning around in the chair. You know, that appears to be what's happening now. Instead of developing a product, it's 8 years of having a job. And I don't. To me, that's not what the business is about. The business is supposed to be about having fun. And if you can't develop something that's fun and you're just developing something to say you created something, go build the next Excel engine or something. I don't know. Just go to Microsoft.
Most of these games should just be movies at this point.
That's what I said. That's what I feel like they're trying to do anyway. They're trying to bust into the film area. Like,
I mean,
they're trying to do that. They're trying to go there.
What did they have? Detroit, and what was the other one? Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain. Yeah,
I like Heavy Rain though. It was done.
Yeah, I like Heavy Rain. Yeah, but I would have preferred to watch it.
Right. That's what
you
I'm
could
saying.
watch Heavy Rain. You could.
If you're gonna give me that kind of interaction and you're gonna do all that stuff, the over the top action and everything, save your money and just give me a movie for it.
Have any of you ever seen the movie for Black Mirror, Bandersnatch?
Mm-mm.
It's an interactive.
No, but I've watched everything up until that point.
It's an interactive game, so basically it's Heavy Rain.
Okay.
But you play it with your TV remote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about to say it's kind of like what Netflix is doing with most of theirs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Netflix exclusive. It's one of their shows. Yeah, I love Black Mirror. I gotta get back into that.
It's pretty decent. I would say check it out if you haven't checked it out. But that's effectively what David Cage, I guess. I think that's his name. That's what he wants to do. So make interactive films, I guess.
Exodia, don't hate on my city. That's all I gotta say.
He said that was a bold movie.
Anything is bold, all right? Anything and everything. I want them to do anything and everything, all right?
But Detroit building up, though. Y'all doing a lot of construction downtown.
Yeah.
Man, they've been doing construction since the 90s.
So you like Atlanta then? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
They ain't done yet. They've been working on that road since I was like 4. They still ain't done yet.
I thought Atlantic City had long projects. Atlantic City
the only different. Oh no, Michigan is that.
Michigan is
one of the worst old projects. They'll spend the ground and the road will be all beat up from the winter, and they will take all summer into the next winter to finally get it right. And by the time it's done for that winter, then they starting again for the next time. Y'all just finished this. The road look nice.
But they put those casinos up real quick though.
Yeah, the casinos.
Casinos gonna bring in money.
Let's see. It's past that, bro. Some of the gamers been wanting Nintendo to the Sega route, and yet we're seeing Xbox talking about third party. Sonyans and stop putting their games on PC. It's like once you. Because I said it on the Winging It podcast. Well, for the Xbox thing, is once they decided that they were gonna move to PC to try and get those people who weren't already in one of those camps, that was the moment that it was over. That they were gonna decide that they were gonna move some of their first party games over there, because now it's almost like a game. It's almost like a game of Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are in this. They got a perfect Nintendo camp, a perfect Sony camp, and a perfect Microsoft camp. And you know what? They're like, there's still some survivors out there. We can still go save these survivors. So let's just open up the door just a little bit to let those people in when those people are the ones with the disease. And then they let them in, and now everybody's got the disease, and they like, well, why would you want to come to your camp when you got all the disease anyway? Like, why would we want to do that? We would never come to your camp. Like, we can plunder and steal all your stuff from you and just be fine with it because we're in the PC market. And Sony was like, you know what? They have a lot of people over there. Like, the numbers is good over there. Let's try and save ourselves and do the same thing. And so they open up their door too. Like, you know what I'm saying? And Nintendo's like, that don't look like that'll work.
Right.
I don't know what y'all plan is. I don't think that's working.
It's the weirdest thing because they know what we know, right? If they concede and just say, you know what, we will make a lot of money if we put our games on Nintendo's platform, they know it's over then.
Yeah.
They know that because if you're like, hey, if I can play all the Nintendo games and all the Sony games and all the Xbox games on this one console, I have no need for, and they know this, so they're doing everything but that. So they're like, well, PC or whatever, or let's avoid Nintendo at all costs. I'll put games on another platform, and then we'll do the thing, kind of. And third parties know this too, so they will actively come up with excuses, not power. They'll come up with excuses as to why they're not in our wheelhouse. We can't. The way our programming pipeline is, we can't do. To me, it seems like your publisher isn't equipped, or you as a studio aren't talented enough to develop for a Nintendo platform.
So that's a big one.
Yeah. That's funny. They quit that power talk real quick. We don't hear that anymore.
Yeah, I mean, you can't say that. All the engines are there. Unreal Engine 5 works on this thing.
Yeah.
So you can't say that now, and then you're like, oh well, the graphics, it won't be up to. Okay, that's up to you taking your time. Witcher 3 looks like whatever Witcher 3 is, but a lot of people said that game wouldn't run, and then they went and said, hey, look, there's a lot of hung processes here. Oh, wait, these are empty threads we don't need to use. Why do we have a thread for sound when Switch has a DSP? Let's turn that off. Ooh, wow. 100% performance game. Who would have thought? Which is the same thing that happened in this game. They give you postmortems on how these games were made.
Yeah.
There's a sound. There's a freaking thread for sound in that game that they had to get rid of. Also, same thing. Performance games. Go figure.
They did the same thing with Warframe. Yeah, Warframe. Yeah. Like,
that was the first one out the gate. It was like, hold on, we made the game better. Doing our thing with the Switch, and then we made it better on other consoles too.
So if you can magically make those ports work, imagine if you, I don't know, had a dedicated team to build that game, starting with just Switch first. Because Switch is so weak, right? Then just make it lead platform. Like y'all did with PS2 in that generation. Remember how y'all did that? And magically it could just go to other platforms willy-nilly. Do that thing.
Right.
Nobody ever asked this. Like, nobody in Gaming Press ever says this. It never happens. Hey, Switch should be lead platform. You wouldn't say it for Wii U. Why? Because Wii U wasn't selling well, right? So that was a perfect reason to not ask that. Switch is selling well.
It's selling very well.
If you can't count to 9 for Nintendo for whatever reason, right? And it's not the 9th generation Nintendo platform for whatever reason, right? That means it outsold the PS4.
Yeah. Right.
So if you want to say it's the best-selling 8th generation platform, you still gotta fit that square peg in a round hole, unless that round hole is way bigger than the square peg. How do you go without saying, hey, we're going to support PS4 and Xbox One and completely omit the Nintendo Switch? When we could have said, you know what, this is the best selling console by a mile. Why don't we develop for this first Then see what we could do on, because you sure enough did it for PS5 and Series X. Like you just straight said, we don't even need the PS4 and Xbox One version. In a lot of cases, you just omitted the Xbox One version and just said, well, Series X is backwards compatible. We don't care. So if you could do that, then you could do it. You could have done it for Switch as well, simply because, hey, it is the market leader. And then it'll be easier to port from it, supposedly. If it's so weak, you can just.
Man, Ubi just showed you it's possible.
Right.
With Prince of Persia.
Interesting.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, and then on top of that too. So this is my question. I'll ask y'all because I'm curious. I know why for certain third-party developers, but if I'm one that's not a part of the Sony clique or a part of the Microsoft clique, and my games are not selling over here, why in the world would I not go put my game over on Switch or make that the lead platform when I know that even though these are the ones that the media pays attention to, I'm not doing nothing over here. So let me go over here and show out over on the Switch. Like, why does it seem like some third-party developers just refuse to see the writing on the wall?
Do you want the real answer or do you want the fake answer?
You know, I always want the real answer. All right, I get enough BS from IGN and Game Informer as is.
So the real answer for really since the whole switch over to PlayStation has been licensing fees.
Oh yeah, it's about like at the beginning because Nintendo was super high on
licensing fees and development fees. Because here's the thing: if you develop a game for PlayStation and they like how it looks, there's a good chance that they'll fund your whole damn game. And if they don't fund your whole damn game, they'll market your whole damn game.
True.
Nintendo is like, you're not a Nintendo developer. You have a third-party publisher. Why aren't they doing their job in marketing your game?
Right.
But we're making the Nintendo version of your game. Okay, who's publishing it? Are we publishing it? No, Ubisoft is. So why isn't Ubisoft making your commercial? Why isn't Ubisoft buying your copies of Switch cartridges so you can reproduce them? Like, that's their job. They're a publisher. You're supposed to publish and make it available everywhere.
Right.
That's the other thing. That Nintendo holds developers' feet to the fire.
So now
do your job.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Was Prince of Persia even shown off in a direct?
Yes,
I think it was.
Yeah,
or it had a separate YouTube video, if I'm not mistaken.
That's because I'm thinking like, did we see it? Because I don't know if we actually saw it in a direct.
It's on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, like I feel like they showed it off in one of the directs. Because I think that's how we knew it was coming to. I mean, we had a feeling it would, but I think that's how we knew it was coming to Switch because I believe it was in one of the directs. And yeah, Brand saying in the September one. Yeah, so I believe it was.
Oh, okay. So I'm like, dang, they really told them to.
But my thing is this: it's like, look,
yourself, buddy.
you got the means. Like, why are you coming to me? Like, you done moved out the house, you grown, you fund your own thing. Like, I shouldn't have to. Like, granted, yes, the other two suckers gonna pay for it, but once again, if you're getting no return, what is the point? It doesn't add up, and then here we go with sad news. Such developer just shut down today, or such developer just let go of 200 more employees, or half their staff because you just refuse to go over and just. I'm not saying be Nintendo exclusive, just make it your lead platform.
And that's what Microsoft admitted, and that's why they're bringing games to Nintendo Switch now. That's literally why they said, "Hey, we have to kill projects and yeet jobs." Like, so instead of that, we will try to make these games available to everywhere, so we can make more. We need more people to buy games.
You see, Phil was so uncomfortable.
He did.
Oh, but I have Sarah Bond here, so it doesn't feel as bad. She could say the same thing I'm saying, and it's okay.
She's cute, right?
Right. Look at her face.
It's still the same message.
Happy Black History Month.
It's just rough, man. But like I said, they're all dancing around the same conclusion. Like, you gotta see Nintendo at the end of the day, and they don't want to. The third party developers don't want to. The other first parties don't want to. And I'm just a simple thing would be, hey, there's a third party game out. Why is it crossplay on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation? Nintendo is like, I don't even know why it's not crossplay on our platform. We didn't say no.
As a matter
Things
of fact,
like that, just little shit like that.
it was earlier that it was just Microsoft and Nintendo playing that game, and Sony was like, "No."
Yeah.
Like if anybody outright says no, it's gonna be Sony. But then even when they get cross play games and whatnot, you're gonna leave the Nintendo platform out? You're killing me out here.
Right. What do you say? He said, Action Jack, I think the answer to
Zodi is a fool.
Yeah.
She's my queen.
She's my queen. Cheryl.
Man, that's horrible. That's rough, man.
I'll be honest with you. I didn't even know who she was until that.
I knew her. Look, I knew her from people like going crazy about her before I knew her position at Xbox. Like I had no clue. And then finally, when I saw, her, I was like, "Oh, that's her." And then it was like, "Oh yeah, that's me right there." I'm like, "No, I'm cool. I'm good."
Right. Oh, okay.
I'm good on it. Y'all got
y'all listen to her. I'm gonna keep listening to what they really talking about.
If you're an Xbox fan and you have a queen, her name should be Orchid. Her name should be
Orchid.
Facts.
Yeah, should be
Super
Orchid.
Facts. Because ain't nobody got thighs next to Chun Li.
Man, you imagine me as a kid with that what would you even call it? Not you wouldn't call it fatality, but the finisher. And she turned to the side and just
I'm like,
oh man, it's going out.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Eyes big.
She hit flips in the air on a cartwheel. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Wow.
The helicopter finisher too is just
right. Let's see here.
Joe Dark as well.
Yeah. Respect. Shout outs to Joanna Dark.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joanna.
She's going through some things, but we're gonna get it right.
Right, which is crazy because she's in a spy of sorts and she's struggling. They can't even get her out the building. Triple M said, "Wait, shouldn't Cortana be the Xbox Queen?" No,
absolutely not.
No.
She can't even be the voice for this operating system anymore.
I was just about to say that. She ain't even any good for her own operating system.
You hit that button, it's gonna say, "Hey Siri."
Exactly.
Like,
Cortana gonna be calling Siri.
Like, can you help me with this, Cortana? Do I look like Siri? No, I am.
Sorry for everybody's phones. I said I'm listening to
this. Do I look like a Siri to you? I don't think so.
What is that?
Right.
Let me just wait for just a second, y'all. Just a second. Gotta see
so, as far as Microsoft and Sony goes, how do you think they navigate the future? Like we already kind of seen Microsoft.
Yeah, we know what Microsoft doing.
Yeah, like they moving everything over. You think that garners them to have another console in the next generation?
So I think this is how Microsoft is going to play it, and I think I don't think they really care about the whole hardware aspect of it. I don't think they look for the money from that. I think that's a way to get people into the subscription. It's kind of similar to what was it? When Roku was really big. And Disney was like, "Hey, we're contemplating on dropping our own streaming box because this was before like Disney Plus.
Right?
They were going to drop their box, but then they realized like, okay, I don't think anybody gonna buy a box dedicated to this. So maybe we need to start putting our stuff in different areas. But with Microsoft, I think eventually it'll get there. You have console players that's how they come into the entry. You realize like while PC is good, a lot of people don't want to deal with PC.
Right.
And then you also have the factor of there's a lot of TV companies that have partnerships. So right now they have their partnership with Samsung. I don't know if they plan to branch out to other TV companies because I know like Sony has their partnership with Android. I know LG has like a partnership with Sling, and so there's like different partnerships here and there, but they can probably get into that field because there's no other game company there. They also have a deal with Verizon. If you don't want to go and pay up front about a console, you can go through Verizon and pay it like you do your phones.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they were doing that before to where you can kind of do like a payment plan, but their payment
Little
plan you got
payment
to
plan.
have
Yeah.
damn near like an 800 just to get with them. But like,
Right.
they had different
Right.
things you could do. But for them, I think they're just going to try to spread their seed pretty much everywhere. Their main focus is selling the software as well as selling the subscriptions. The R&D and everything that comes along with hardware is not sustainable. We don't make money from it. If we can take the Walmart approach and have you know, pretty much have to go through everything that we want you to purchase, and if you by the end get to the end of the store and still want what you want, you're still going to get it. And for anybody to understand that, like, so like Walmart's okay with taking a hit on game sales because they put it in the back, so they understand you got to walk through the groceries, you got to walk through
Right.
medicine, so
Right.
you're gonna
So
see
you're gonna
something that you
buy
need to
something
pick up.
else.
You're gonna buy
Yeah.
something. I don't care nothing about these games. I don't care nothing about these movies. I know you're going to pick up something on your way to the back of that store to get anything. So with Microsoft, hey, yeah, you'll see it over here with us on Xbox, but in reality, we just want you to buy these games. We want you to buy the subscription. So when you see the commercials, when you see the Samsung TV, when you see it on your phone, when you see it on your computer, because majority of people are going to have PCs, that's really what they want.
Right.
For Sony, I think I said this when we did a couple shows trying to figure out where's the future for all three, and Sony was the one I was worried about, because Sony for me doesn't have a clear cut direction when it comes down to the IPs. They've shown you they don't mind letting them go. Like, we'll do what we need to do as far as our entry, and we'll let our developers go create whatever they want to after that. Like, we're not trying to hold on to anything. So that's why, like, I look at some of the Sony fans and like, you can't use the excuse of, oh, Sony and Zelda's been around when, I mean, well, Mario and Zelda's been around when Sony lets theirs go. Like,
Right.
Nintendo builds theirs out and they stay with it and they make them relevant. But I'm worried about Sony. I really am. Like, from a gamer standpoint, as far as competition, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter's, Sly Cooper's, Uncharted, those were good games. I really wanted to like Horizon. And Spider-Man, they did an amazing job with as many people that Spider-Man was with. I think they've done the best job. So, I mean, I really want them to stay around. But when you're saying, okay, here's my console, okay, then we're going to go to PC. Okay, we're going to put you over here with this PS Portal. Then we're going to drop some VR on you. Then we're going to come, like, they're doing too much. And it's like they're trying to get into every pool and they don't know where exactly they belong.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the problem is gonna lie. They have great IPs. Now, are they samey? For sure. But Sony fans like it. They like it. They love it. But ultimately, they have to figure out who they are, what they are, because I will say, like, they mimic Nintendo up until Xbox showed up, and then they start mimicking Xbox and Nintendo. So they got to find some form of an identity. I mean, they made it this far. They have a very popular name. It seems like the European countries love them. US loves them. I mean, they just got to find something in what they want to do. But in reality, until they find that, I mean, they're going to be floating on the island, just trying to figure out. I mean, just waiting to see what their fate's going to be. And I don't think it's going to be anything worthwhile. To be honest with you.
What do you think, Vito?
Say it one more time. Hold on. I'm not even listening. My bad.
I said, what do you think? So, what do you think the direction is going to go for Microsoft and Sony? Like, as far as like possibly the next generation, you think they're gonna, evolve? What do you see the moves being?
I don't know, actually. You know what I mean? I would think I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I don't see them lasting like separately too long. I feel like there's gonna be a merger somewhere down the line with another company or whatever. But other than that, I mean, they're it looks like they're overboard and like they're trying to look for like some help, so they're like
Yep.
waving, and they're like, they're drowning. They're doing your pirate stuff, so they, and then like Nintendo's like on their ship, like, yeah, we see you.
Mhm.
We see
They
you.
just staring at him.
It ain't even deep over there.
Right.
I'm trying to, cuz. I'm trying to. It ain't even deep over there. Stand up.
So, I just feel like there's gonna be like maybe a few more years of desperation before they just
Yeah.
dissolve into another company. You know what I mean?
Oh wow, so you think they're gonna like go and partner up?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
click up. Okay.
Click up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same thing in the entertainment. Like Disney, they're looking into
They got Hulu. Yeah.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like it's when I think about the video game market, I think about entertainment in general.
Yeah.
And so what's been, and then when you look at that, you just look at like business in general. Like the most common sense situation would be like, let's say Ford. You know how Ford is partnered or owned or something like that with GMC, with General Motors, stuff like that. So eventually all the big names they got to dissolve. I mean,
Yep.
we had Sega. Sega had to do what they had to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, I really feel like, and it's probably gonna be Microsoft first.
Oh yeah.
Definitely
for sure.
Microsoft first.
Yeah.
You know what I
If
mean?
they don't outright leave the industry, I feel like they'll just be like, "We're doing a partnership with Sony now. Like, hey, we friends." Because I think they're just, I think, unless they just like detach Xbox completely and it's like, we don't want that anymore, and then like all those people just are like, we're part of the Xbox division, we ain't got nothing. But Sony, I think even in that space, does Sony really even have money like that to be like, hey, we'll buy you? We'll take you
So
on.
question.
There
though.
was a time where I thought that would be true. Go ahead, Vito.
With all these studios that Xbox or Microsoft bought out,
Here's the real question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's the real question.
Yeah.
what eventually is going to happen to them because they're not doing anything, right? So, like, are they dissolving into Xbox Studios in general? Like, what is going on with that?
Let Phil
I-
tell it. Because didn't he say like they're now working on or building up stuff now? Because they'll
Yeah.
let us know come June
Yeah,
with their June showcase.
I think in all honesty, I think Game Pass, well, it was already a big deal for them, but I think the relevancy for Xbox and how important Game Pass actually is like monumental to keeping them around to the point where I think those projects that we've all been waiting for have actually been sitting and waiting for like Game Pass to be Netflix level. So
Yeah,
I was just about to say, like,
start
yeah.
moving them
y'all-
over.
Do y'all
They got
see
all
like?
of them.
Do y'all see like basically Microsoft as a whole company just becoming that streaming service like Netflix was? 'Cause,
So, because Netflix started off on
Yeah.
DVDs and then they
Yeah.
went this route. But I do. And the reason why I say that is look at who they would be competing against. And as now, I didn't know this until we went out of town this past weekend. Netflix has quietly been getting games that's on Netflix. app.
Oh, they've been on there for
How,
a minute.
like,
hey, how do you play those? Like I've been
So,
trying to figure out how to
if
do
you go
that.
on your
You
phone,
play them
they're
on your
there.
phone.
So
Okay.
I have, like I said, I have the Odin, so it's an Android device.
Yeah.
Now I went to Netflix. Now the biggest thing, the first time I found out about it was when people were going back and forth about how in the hell is the Netflix version of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas better than the one that they released on the console?
man.
So when I saw that, I'm like, hold on, they got all three. Then I went and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Like y'all got Oxenfree 2.
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Y'all got Hades. Hold on, wait a minute. You got and it's all you have is a Netflix account, and that's it. So
And they're
I get
there.
those games on top of the fact that they have the movie. So, like you were saying, akin to how Netflix started making their own originals. They started doing their own thing after a while. Now, some they get canceled after the first season, but that's besides the point. But when they build up these studios and you get a team, and you're talking about a streaming service, you have to have the heavy hitters. So if you know, gonna have I don't know, a Bethesda come in, you buy them. Okay, I need you to make me a Ted Lasso. Okay, I have this another group over here. Okay, I need you to be my next Walter White with Breaking Bad. Like they're gonna make those bangers because you have to have a reason to come to the subscription service, and they said it's gonna be day one, and they're not going anywhere. So those games are gonna always be there. So I think that's how they're building it up. And then for you to say, okay, Netflix doesn't have a one platform device. You can get Netflix on anything. So with that, except for Apple Vision Pro, but other than that, the only other that's where I feel like Microsoft is going next is like, okay, we need to be everywhere, so that way I know Susie can get it on her tablet. I know your mama can get it over here on this. I know your daddy can get it on that. And they don't have to walk into a game store like GameStop or walk into a Walmart and buy a $400, $500 console. They already own the $2,000 TV or own the $500 tablet or the $1,200 laptop. Play it on that. And then you can plug anything up to the TV or stream anything to the TV today anyway. So go right ahead.
Right.
Do your thing. So
right.
I think who dropped the ball on that was GameFly.
They really did.
They knew everything was going digital, and they just fumbled the bag all
big
day.
time.
And I know maybe they didn't want to pay for the infrastructure to start the streaming stuff better or what have you, but all they had to do was make an attempt, and Amazon is waiting to buy them. And I'm pretty sure that's what they wanted to do anyway. They wanted to be bought either by Netflix or Amazon at that point. And they just never made the transition fully to do it right, and they got stuck in limbo.
That's crazy.
But as far as Microsoft goes, like I said again, here's the issue, and the reason why I know the history of this is because I really hated how Bill Gates left and how he handed off everything to Microsoft left in there. So Satya Nadella he was the Xbox Cloud guy, and now he's the CEO of Microsoft. And for the longest time, when he was the president of Cloud at Microsoft, he always thought Xbox was a bum project. Since 2001, he's been shitting on it. He did not, excuse my French, I don't know what the rating of this podcast is. But for the longest time since the beginning, he did not want it to exist. He understood Bill Gates' reasoning. Hey, we can tap into living rooms. But now it's becoming more and more clear that, you don't really need those in living rooms anymore because the TV itself has access to the cloud. You have other devices that have access to the cloud. And all these gaming consoles, to him anyway, are eventually going to end up in the cloud. Everything's going to Azure, so there's zero reason to have them. That being said, though, these are really big contracts that Microsoft just signed over multiple decades. I don't think that's for naught. So the whole reason of them doing that is because they're going to become what GameFly was supposed to be.
Right.
So they have every intention of, quote unquote, killing Xbox, but not killing Xbox.
Right.
So there won't be Xbox as a console anymore, or maybe even Xbox Game Studios. But think Steam or Epic Game Store, but everywhere. You don't need some janky PC. You don't need Steam Connect or Steam Key. You just sign in, and whatever your Microsoft account at work you could use to play whatever. Now you have Game Pass because of your work account. That kind of stuff. They will find ways to weasel you in. And you'll be in there, and then all of a sudden you'll have it. And that's their future. That's exactly what they plan on doing. And I don't think they're going to let any of those studios go. Everybody they just absorbed are going to be part of that portfolio.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then on top of that too, when we look at something else that Phil spoke about was kind of how bad Windows runs on these handheld devices. I think they're going to play a part in trying to operate that too. Because when Windows knows, okay, like they never got the tablet thing figured out. I don't know what went wrong with that. Surface was an amazing device. It's just they never figured out the whole setup with that. But if Xbox and Phil and them get involved, like, okay, we're going to figure out how to make Windows this great handheld OS or OS separate, kind of like what Apple does with iPad OS versus, Mac OS. Yeah, like for sure. That's going to give more jobs and more opportunities to keep advancing this gaming stuff, especially from a handheld standpoint. And they don't have to worry about making it. You got Asus, you got Lenovo, you got different companies that do it just like they do the PCs.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I think too, if you look at how, like I said, like how silent they've been moving into that Netflix source with the people all these people that you already bought, you don't have to convince them to try and make games because they're under your home in the first place.
There you go.
So now you can look at all the like the backlog games that they've had that have already come out. Oh, you could play these legacy games from Ninja Theory, like it's already there for you. All you have to do is just get the other people that you couldn't convince, and you got Blizzard and Activision now. So all of their titles from backlogged are already there, already set. You got Bethesda, so all of the Elder Scrolls, all that other stuff is already set. Like Shadow said, when the service is there, you can be like, boom, it's all here for you.
Yeah, and you got the front runners. Yeah, like when you get to that point, and you trying to convince the other third parties to show up. Hey, guess what? Call of Duty's over here. So you already know everybody over here. So if you want people to play your games, come on over. They can Suge Knight the whole thing. They can definitely do it.
Blue Magic. That's it. That's the
exactly. Blue Magic. I just don't know what those payouts look like. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're crazy, but I'm pretty sure they got to find some way to fund them. I don't even know how that works with Netflix as far as those deals, because I mean, you see, shows go in and out of there. Even some of my favorites that will pop up, like Marlon, I will go to Netflix and watch Marlon, and now it's nowhere to be found. I thought that was like a Netflix exclusive thing, but it wasn't. So I mean, stuff moves around. I mean, but honestly, here's the thing where
HBO, final on HBO.
It is okay. All right, cool. But that's one thing that they have the advantage, and I think this is something I was watching one of these YouTubers talk about the streaming services. He was like, the benefit that Netflix has, they've been in this from jump with the idea of being a streaming service. So the other one's just trying to play catch up. Like, oh, we have content, so let's put something together and just throw it out there. And the only one that really benefit was Disney, because Disney's the only one that has like original content that they can go back over archive on. So like Hulu didn't have anything, Paramount didn't really have anything, like they didn't have nothing. So when you look at Microsoft, hey, we started back here on the Xbox. We're still trying to figure out this backwards compat thing in full if they can. We've been in the gaming space, so now we have Azure. We know how this whole cloud thing works. So now it's a matter of getting the streaming service out there, get people on board. I don't know how you put out as far as the money is, as far as the payout. That's above my pay grade. But if they can get those enough people to come over and say, okay, I'm gonna subscribe this month to play the next Tales of Arise, and I don't know about anybody else, most people tend to forget that they're subscribed to something, especially if it don't cost that much. So they count on you just to sit there and let that money keep pulling. Yeah. So I mean, that's where they win. As far as ownership, I understand how people feel about ownership, but in reality, most of this stuff you got download anyway, so you don't own it no way. So it is what it is. This is where we're going. And the thing is, Xbox doesn't have any competition with this.
So somebody mentioned on live was one of the earlier attempts that predates damn near Netflix. Yeah. But probably the promising attempt though that was kind of dangerous at the time was Luna, because you got the power Amazon behind you, and don't get it twisted. That thing's still available.
They still going.
Right.
Doing it.
Quietly though. They still doing it though.
Yeah. But I'm kind of curious too. Like you said, Sony is really the only one that's like, what are y'all gonna do? Earlier, Miss Tanner said yes, Apple. She said try and do the handheld thing. That would be that. While I could see them doing that and labeling it as the Portal 2.
No,
I don't know.
It just, how does that look when your followers, when your heavy hitting followers, when your fanboys
already got the Portal?
Yeah. And now you behind the rest of the competition.
Yeah. The rumor is that's what Microsoft's hardware announcement this year is.
That'll be dope. I mean, like I said, I made the jump. And
Wait. Microsoft is coming
the
out with a handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They got a hardware announcement this year that they think is going to be quote unquote exciting. And so the theory is that it's another digital only console that they're selling, and I don't think that's it. I think they've already been the Series X, right? They made the Series S.
Yeah.
They know how to go lower.
Yeah, they're not scared either.
And make a Steam Deck that's a little bit stronger. They know.
And so you go back to what I was saying earlier, getting with Windows, the Windows team, to figure out how to make it suitable for handhelds. Because to be honest with you, with this Rogue Ally, that's one of the bigger problems. Because you could tell it's just Windows 11. Like it's not made, it's not set up properly for that.
Can I just say they don't have to?
And they really don't. No, they really don't.
They could just use the Xbox dashboard they got right now.
True, and then have that bad boy just go straight into Game Pass. Like they could easily do that. But also too, so if they're gonna do that, and then when we talk about, they said it was gonna be another generational leap. When we talk about leaps, handheld gaming would be the one.
Yeah.
So I mean, because console, you're really not doing too much with that. But right now, I think with the top dog that's in the US right now will be the Legion Go and the Asus Ally. I mean the Rogue Ally right now. So when we talk about handhelds, that's the space, and that's where everybody is. So I mean, I think you might be right about that with Xbox saying, "Hey, at the end of this year, here's an Xbox handheld that they digital only."
Wouldn't it just be a feather in Nintendo's cap though?
Right.
It really would.
I'll just scroll back and look at all the Nintendo Switch will fail videos in 2016 and 2017, and just. But then they said the same thing. They said the same thing about Nintendo will fail because they can't compete at E3, and they did Nintendo Directs. What ended up happening? Everybody followed.
Did it? Right. Well, zero to your point. So to your point, and this is one thing that a lot of people tend to forget. It's gonna have exclusive content, and the exclusive content will be the crap they just got from King. So it's got, you have to think about the mobile market. There's a lot of mobile games that people sleep on. So I mean, like I said, Star Rail and Genshin Impact came out of nowhere.
That's one thing that I dislike about it. They refuse to acknowledge that Switch has a touchscreen.
Yes.
Right, that part too.
I completely forgot that I could scroll through eShop with the game I just swipe, and I'm like, I forgot I could do this. And when you watch like videos or whatever, you could just scrub through the video. I completely forgot I could do this, and they don't talk about it at all. It's hit and miss. It's hit and miss with regards to what games support it, whether they're first party or third party. And sometimes even if the game supports it, it only supports it certain modes. There are games I played where I could only go through the start menu of the game with the touchscreen, and then when I play the game, it doesn't work at all. So it's to me, that's the biggest thing that Nintendo is missing on. And if Steam Deck, the screen works all the time. If Sony and Microsoft can get that going, that's one thing they will be doing Nintendo's not doing. That's a big thing that I think they're missing out on. Like coming from Wii U, you would figure that you would emphasize that in some way, shape, or form, especially since you cut to one screen now. But that's the one thing. Hey man, call me a Nintendo hater, but I'm like, that's the thing. That's the thing that they're missing, and for the life of me, I don't know why they're not emphasizing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but like I said, this next move, I think Shadow's right. Like Xbox is gonna say something about a handheld, because what way do you say, okay, we're gonna one up Steam Deck, we're gonna one up Asus, and then we're gonna definitely one up Sony because they just didn't even try. So so hey, why not? And then you stay in that handheld space because it's all about portability. Like we didn't our phones got smaller and smaller and smaller, but then they became more portable. No one stayed with like corded phones. Like we want to try to find ways to move around. You look at VR, wireless. Like we're trying to find ways to keep it in your face. So why would I want to keep putting it under your TV? So at this point, that'd be the bigger move. Let Sony have the console thing. Let them have it. And you say, I got a handheld for you, and I'm on every screen around here too. So I meant, that'd be the biggest move. It really would. We just got to figure out something about this memory space, because I'm gonna need y'all to start optimizing these damn games. Because it's like, because the fact that I got 3 games on this Rogue Ally, and my 512 gigs is almost out of here. I had to buy a 2 terabyte SSD today. Like,
Oh, wow.
bro, no. The PC games was wild. I mean, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, man. I don't know what's going on with that, and I don't know why they're. It's just bad the way these games are being made now. They're not even attempting to package them properly, and memory leaks in games is just like I can test 2 or 3 games and immediately find out that they're CPU bound or memory bound, and it doesn't matter how much RAM you throw at it. I got 32 gigs of RAM in this computer I'm using right now, and I can play a game. I can play a game from 2007. And it would chew up all 32 gigs of that. It makes no sense. It makes no sense.
It was like trying to figure out how to play Hogwarts on here. It's so weird. 1080p runs smoother than 720p. I'm like, but why? I thought it's the weirdest thing. But hey, I mean that's PC gaming for you.
Yeah.
Just weird stuff all the way around. I say, just throw it all in the trash and make developers develop games per frame all over again.
You think they'll ever bring back the seal of approvals?
Oh my gosh, with the gold stamp on it?
Yeah.
holding publishers accountable.
Because that'll really send your game through the roof. Like, okay, I'm trying to decide between this one and this one. Oh shoot, hold on, that one got Nintendo seal of approval. I might want to cop this one.
Yeah.
Literally playing games offline. Playing games offline.
That seal of approval, man. That'll be big.
Yeah.
So real quick question. I know this is completely off topic. So Shadow, real quick. I've only run into maybe 1 or 2 sites that do this. Why don't some of these, I guess you could say, developers or even some of these sites go out their way to show the consumer the best settings to use to play their games? Because when I got this ROG Ally, there's a site called ROG Ally Life, and the guy goes through takes his time, and he'll tell you like, hey, either I just couldn't figure it out, like even FSR didn't work with it, I tried to tweak this and it doesn't work, or either hey, it runs immaculate, just do this. Like, and it saved me tons of headache because he showed me what I need to change instead of me going through just fiddling around with it. That should be a no-brainer.
The only reason PC games like that exist, if it's say it's a PC only game, right? The only reason those exist is to, how can I say this? To pad the pockets of the people that help them fund their game. So if they're developing a game, say specifically primarily for an AMD card or whatever, they're magically going to have a demo where they're showing a game with brand new graphics cards, brand new settings, and I'm pretty sure if it's an AMD graphics card, then we're also using an AMD CPU, right? We're going to use a whole Ryzen chipset. We use an AM4, AM5 chipset or what have you with brand new CPU, brand new GPU, and we're going to walk all the way around this because it's being sponsored by AMD, even if they don't tell you that. Their goal is you're going to buy a new GPU because they're paying for us to develop this game, and also you're going to buy our game because if AMD has a commercial for the next GPU, they're going to show our game in the commercial for it.
Yep.
And why should we show you what the lower end settings are for a game, or what the optimal settings are for a GPU of a lower class that we're not selling anymore, when we could just get you to buy the new shit?
Even with the new stuff, show me how to tinker this, because the fact that I can go and get a 4090 and your game still may run bad because something just don't talk right with it. You know what I'm saying? Like the what was it? The biggest discovery with this was to make your games run exponentially better was getting rid of Microsoft Integrity, like turning it off. And I guess Microsoft has so much emphasis on security that it's killing the games. So when you turn that off, it just sends your FPS through the roof.
So I'll say this: it's the funniest thing. Games are sloppy. And when I say that, and I'm not trying to say that, you know, people like talent or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Here's the thing. They develop games in a container, right? They have a development kit that they use on PC to develop for PC and all this other kind of stuff, right?
Right.
Eventually they have crunch time. When they have crunch time and they're doing last minute testing and all this other kind of stuff, they're just like, yeah, well, we don't have time to test for all these other different configurations, but this works, blah, blah, blah. And we got a driver over here that has a dynamic link over here that works, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just close the game and ship it.
Mm.
Then you come back and you're like, I have a newer GPU than what's recommended here, and my shit's breaking. And people's older stuff is working just fine.
Right.
Yeah, because we magically did not include the DLL that you needed for your stuff to work optimally. So you're looking at a DLL that thinks your GPU is something different than what it is. And you'll have all kind of issues with a PC game that, hey, you know what? We think your GPU only has half the amount of shaders that it has. And you play this game and now it's struggling because the driver is telling the GPU to pretend to be something that it's not.
Mm.
The same thing with memory leaks. Hey, if I have this much memory or whatever, and I reach this page threshold, hey, keep on paging the hard drive and filling up the fucking drive, even though I have more memory. Well, It went over the imaginary limit that we have in our game because we didn't write the game that way for the memory that you have.
Right.
All those things happen because there are literally millions of different configurations for every PC out there.
That's
and
crazy.
They know the best thing to do is just say, go buy the new shit. And go buy the new shit that we're marketing, not newer than what we're not marketing. Buy the thing that's in the commercial.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that's a nasty game right there.
It is a nasty game, but that's literally it. For all intents and purposes, that cuts every excuse out of any developer that says they can't do something on a console.
Yeah,
it's fixed. Everything's the same. There's no excuses.
Yeah.
That means the difference is your code.
Mm.
And you can't say that, oh, it's not the power and we don't have the things anymore. It is 2024. Right. Switch came out in 2017, but it was pretty modern at the time. It had better tools than the PS4 and the Xbox One did. So you can't say that your modern game engine isn't scalable enough to fit a target that's fixed and doesn't change. Switch Lite has the same specs as Switch. I don't know what else to tell you. Yeah. It is literally just a different form factor. So I don't know, man. But PC gaming has always been that way, unfortunately. Why consoles decided to be like PCs in that way, to give PCs even more excuses, I don't know. But
it's funny you say that because I remember when I first got this 3080 and playing games like Cyberpunk, I'd be like, man, like how much VRAM do you need? Like that's ridiculous. But then like if I'm playing like even Hogwarts Legacy, this is years later, or even Skull and Bones too, I'm like using less than 3/4 of the VRAM now, and I'm like, these games are newer. What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
so that makes sense. Okay.
JB said I said too much.
Well, I mean, it seems like they're at least trying to make things. At least I guess this is from Steam, from Valve's standpoint. They're going out their way to say, "Hey, look, we're trying to get people to dedicate setups for my Steam Deck," and I mean that seems to be the best route to go. Is to have somebody come out there and say, hey, look, we got this device, try to make something for it. So that way we can put that certification up there saying, hey, it works and it's verified.
I will say Valve has tried, and they're making a pretty decent effort as far as support and not just them going out and saying, hey, they're Steam only versions, having the resources available for the community to also develop updates and stuff like that too. So you can go in there, hey, there's a new trial pack, or there's a new trial driver pack for this, or trial configuration for it, and you can save which ones you want that lock in for the game that's got the most upvotes or what have you, and you can kind of go back and forth and choose settings and then go from there. So I think that's kind of a good approach based on what Steam has, but ultimately I think Microsoft has better resources. So and they could build a system where, hey, it's locked to this every single time. And all you have to do is develop for this spec over here on your PC and your development environment. Also, here's our Xbox SDK. Just develop for that in Windows 11. And then once you port everything over, you're good. I really think they have a better opportunity of making that happen than even Valve does. So we'll see how that goes as far as handheld goes. Because I think they need to use the Xbox dashboard. If they use Windows 11, they're asking for failure.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
We shall see.
I support Microsoft, man. I mean, I thought they had great phones. You know, they had a great concept with the tiles.
The
Zoom was great. It's
and
just
I'm an Apple guy. The Zoom was great.
the execution just always fails. It's just something because I know with the phones it was the whole app thing. Like they couldn't get the apps. Android and Apple had already taken off. Like I said, the Surface they dropped the ball on that one. I mean, they make great products when they decide to make them. It's just the execution just it ain't there.
Right.
Well, listen, I was one and done with Microsoft. I jumped in on the wrong time on the phones. I think they had what was the first one? Like the Touch Pro. Remember when they had the Touch Pro?
Because they ran with the Lumias first, didn't they? Or did they
have
them?
Yeah, this was right before the Evos, I want to say.
Okay, I get what you said. Yeah. The HTC Evos.
Yeah. So they had the Touch Pro, and I remember looking them up, and like everybody was raving about them. Oh, these are good phones. These are good phones. So I was like, okay, I'll wait a little bit till the prices go down. And I think at that time I was out of a contract, and the Touch Pro 2 came out, and I'm like, I'm jumping on that Touch Pro 2. Let me go ahead and get that Touch Pro. And I think that phone lasted less than a year. Then they moved to the Evos. No updates, nothing like that. And I was like, man, this is garbage. And everybody had the Evos at that time. And I'm like, couldn't do it after that point. I'm like, you know what? Y'all are good at PC stuff, and y'all good at the time video game stuff. That's all I'm gonna keep it at. Like that's all y'all. Only those. Let's see here. This past Shadow, have you heard of RISC-V architecture? From what I understand, is similar architecture is on.
Yes, they could go there. That would help a little bit, or that could just be a tool set that they could use in their ISA to speed up some code. They don't really need to though. If the current API that NVIDIA is using for them is flexible enough, then they don't really have to. They don't have to do that. Now, and you're talking about completely redoing the architecture. I mean, it would be good probably for future proofing, maybe for a newer platform other than what Nintendo's doing right now, because obviously that's set in stone. But honestly, I don't. It's really a choice. It's a design choice, and if Nintendo's making a lot of money with what they have right now, they don't really need to switch to a new architecture. They already got everybody all sped up on current RISC architecture and in the ARM setup they have right now. And there's so many normal, how can I say this, basic ARM developers around the world. They could easily plug and play any CPU guy in and out of Nintendo if it comes down to it, versus switching to ARMv, and now you got to find somebody that's ahead of the curve and get them in there. So it's about more implementation and keeping staff, and not just staff within Nintendo, but now you're talking about third parties too, and getting support. Because the last thing you want is complaints. Like there were no excuses with regards to Switch. Like you can't say you're having trouble getting a game up and running on Switch. That's one thing you could not say. You can't say the code wasn't transferring over. The code is transferring over. So you don't want to be in that scenario again where we have to rewrite our entire game for Wii U like they were doing back then, because you're talking about multi-threaded platforms to a single-threaded multi-core platform, and it was a completely different architecture. And they had to rewrite everything to Big Indian to get it to work on Wii U. You don't want that kind of a scenario. Yeah, and granted, RISC-V is backwards compatible in some ways, but what's the point if you're not going to take advantage of what you have? So you want to leap forward if you're going to use that. That's the only the answer I really have to that. They could, but should they really? I don't think they should, honestly. Not right now. Maybe as things go forward, they could with a system after this, but not whatever they're about to do next.
Okay, last question. So I was trying not to bring this up, but that's funny. Last question. So, question, guys, what do you think is going on with the gaming media? Because I find it funny that they're all up in arms. That it's funny it's Dark Voice saying it. That's why I know why. Up in arms, the Switch 2 got delayed, but funny Nintendo never announced the system.
I'll let everybody go first.
So first off, I told y'all so. Nah, no. In all seriousness, though, I just had a conversation with somebody about this earlier too. It's funny how media works because in ways that Nintendo isn't affected, they still get affected in some sort of way. And I don't know if you guys saw it, probably about, well, it's 11 now, but maybe about an hour or so before we even had the podcast, Nintendo stock dipped after everybody's been talking about the Switch moving into 2025. And so like, is that really going to bother them? And they're going to be like, well, now we got to come out with the system. No. Not in any kind of way. They already
their investors don't even work that way.
They don't.
Yeah. They work long term, for sure.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, I've always felt that they were going to be 2025, like towards the end of last year, anyway. And I've even put it on Juice Man. Vaughn's tweet is like, so many people feel like this is like the bad move because they've been talking about their transitioning and stuff like that, needing a smooth transition. But if you really think about it, the games that we know are what, up until May or something like that, May or June.
Yeah, May or June. Yeah.
But if they were following the same scenario that they did last time, then we would get an announcement on a system this year by October anyway. So. Right. So if you're talking about loss of hype, there really isn't a loss of anything. If you're going into the holiday, and I said they can make a power move and be like, hey, we're finally dropping the system down by $25-$50 for this last holiday so that you can jump right into Switch 2 coming in March. No loss of traction at all. Right. But to me, it was more writing on the wall last year that we didn't get any kind of any kind of nothing towards the end of last year, and everybody's like, well, it's going to be holiday this year, and it's like, I think after seeing these numbers, I kind of think they're done with holiday. Like that's like it's so much more to me, so much more of a power play if you already have a system out and you enter the holiday already having a system and being like, hey, now we got these bangers and there's software that you can pick up as well. And for those other people who haven't already picked up the system, they probably heard it from somebody who has a system that you need to pick up the system so we can get you on the holiday too. And if we need to bundle something, then we bundle it on the holiday. But like, nobody's really bundling a system in the holiday on their first year. Like that's not happening. Mm-hmm. So you're already a step behind everybody else who already has the system out, who's going to be like, hey, let's bundle this. Now you get 2 for this, but you only get a game, you only get a system for this. So I'm sorry. My bad, Jay. but that's kind of how I see it. And I feel like gaming media is like, I feel like they've moved a little bit smarter in a sense, if that's the right word. On this, because I think the Switch Pro hit them in the gut in the wrong way. Remember how it was like, oh, we're getting it on the next direct. Oh, well, they weren't ready on this direct, so it's gonna come soon. It's gonna be a separate thing. It's not gonna be part of the direct. Oh, well, it's not gonna come out on this day. They decided they were gonna do that, but they're gonna move it back. Like, even notice in some of the media is like, well, they were gonna show it off in 2024. They were picking 2024, but now they decided, like, that's not how any of that stuff works. Like,
not at
they
all.
Don't just be like, you know what? Today is Monday, 12 o'clock. Let's just go ahead and move it back to next
Business
year.
is no offer.
No, it's not a last minute push the button type of thing. Like this has been thought way in advance. So
I mean, listen to how ignorant they are too. Is press? They don't really know what they're talking about. They thought the Switch Lite was the Switch Pro. They thought that the Switch OLED was a Switch Pro, and it was going to have a completely different screen that the Switch OLED had. Like they're sourcing information whatever they can grab, and they're not thinking about whether it makes sense or not. And now that Switch Pro is effectively dead because nobody wants to say it anymore, I want to say it now because I want to remind people how wrong they were. It's just odd. I find it convenient that yesterday of all days, confirming that, hey, you know what, since the beginning of this year, y'all been saying Nintendo's going to do a Nintendo Direct this week to announce a new system possibly, or talk about other games and a partner direct and all this other kind of foolishness. Right when that gets confirmed that it's not happening this week and all of y'all motherfuckers are wrong, now you got to move the goalpost to a Nintendo Switch. Oh, so you're not even talking about the Direct anymore.
No.
Okay. Now you're talking about the whole system is canned. Like it actually had a release date, and it never did. Nintendo, it never even mentioned any new hardware at all. So what are we even talking about here other than rumors? So now the rumored date has been delayed. I'm gonna say this again. I'm gonna say this out loud. The rumored date for a platform that has not been announced has been delayed. You have to say it out loud so you can hear how stupid it sounds.
They pushed back the date. I found out from their source. Like, come on, dude. They ain't said nothing.
Right.
I'll wait for Shadow to finish.
And it's just interesting because Microsoft's in a pickle now. Sony's in a pickle now.
Yes.
And the whole goal was, all right, so what does Nintendo got? We can't say Nintendo has something.
No, you can't.
We can't. Especially not after this week.
No.
Delay. There's a delay.
There you go.
Because what we can't do, and here's the other thing. I failed to mention this earlier, but I wanted to say this. Multiple times throughout the generations, as Nintendo has stuck to 4 to 6 years for every generation, and Microsoft and Sony have not, what they did do was say, hey, look, we're not going to leave Nintendo doing anything alone for 3 years straight.
No.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it was, hey, let's come up with our own version of motion control, or hey, oh God, this Wii U is out. We need to rush our systems, like, because please believe Xbox One and PlayStation 4 were not supposed to come out in 2013. They were They did not want to use Bobcat cores for the CPU. They did not. They did not. They absolutely did not. Please believe
Xbox was definitely looking to just in case we'll get a second screen to make it happen.
And even then, they didn't know. They thought Wii U was going to take off, so they came up with their own little second screen kind of things that came and went. Everybody forgot about all that, but there was Xbox Smart Glass, and Sony over here doing transferring with the PSP and the Vita. Like, don't get it twisted. Don't forget.
Oh man.
Wow. Don't forget, all that stuff happened, and so they're like stuck, and they're like, Nintendo won't stop doing this 4 to 6 year shit, and our systems cost too much. We have to keep them on the market for at least 8 years, and Nintendo keeps doing every 4 to 6. So we keep getting stuck with this gap of Jesus. They're on the market by themselves for too long with something new, and we have to invent some. Okay, let's make a Wii U. We got to have something out here while the Switch is dominant. We brought out 2 new systems at the same time, and it did nothing.
Right.
So for 3 years, it continued to dominate as if those other 2 systems didn't exist. And now they're going to come out with a new one, and we don't have an answer to that because the other 2 platforms that were supposed to kill it in 2020, they're still on the market, and we got to support them.
Drowning.
So what? We can't release new hardware in 2025 like Nintendo's about to, or 2024, whatever. We don't have the capacity to do that. What can we do? But we still got the press's ear. I know. Talk about Steam Deck a lot. Steam Deck OLED is out, so it's better. It's a new thing. Look at all these other new PCs out. Now magically we're talking about handheld PCs. They've been out forever
Wow.
before
DPD
Switch.
has been out for a minute.
Yeah.
And I'll say this too. Remember how magically nobody talked about Tegra tablets after Switch came out? Because I remember for a long time how people were talking about how great Tegra K1 and even Tegra X1 tablets were running Unreal 3 and Unreal 4. It was showing all these demos of how everything looks. And then Nintendo's like, that Tegra X1, we'll use that. Oh no, we're not talking about tablets anymore. We don't want to show what the
Tegra X1 is a powerhouse. Tegra X1 is a powerhouse.
We don't even want to talk about that architecture anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy to me. So he said I need to be on a Nate the Hate Pot. He don't want
Nate ain't gonna pull you on there because
he don't want none of
MVG ain't gonna have you on there either.
Spawnwave won't even have me on anymore.
Nah. I actually thought you were part of that podcast at one point in time, and then you disappeared.
He don't want me on there no more.
For that one. I got a show for that one.
He don't want me on there no more. Nope.
Nope. I'll make it quick and sweet because I feel like everything has been said that needs to be said. When we look at the media and their issue with Nintendo, it seems like it spreads far and wide when we talk about, when they all came into the publication, as far as like your IGNs, your GameSpots, Game Bombs, and it all depends on like when they entered into the fray of media. Now, at this point in time, with your new journalists, or if that's what you want to call them, there's no repercussions for what you put out. Like, you can put out whatever you want to, and you can keep stretching that far and wide. I can say that it's going to rain soon, as long as I want to. As long as I don't give you no definitive date, as long as it rains, I was right. I was correct.
Right.
So we went through this whole process of Nintendo Pro, the Nintendo Switch Pro. Reason why? Oh, Nintendo's outdated. These games are running poorly. They're not getting the latest and greatest third-party games that ain't selling worth a damn anyway, but they're not getting it, so they need a Pro. Let's keep pushing the Pro. Like Shadow said, Light wasn't it. The OLED wasn't it. So then you say, okay, well, what's the next push? Okay, it's time for them to still get a new console because one or two games may run poorly. Has nothing to do with the development. It's the Switch. So we're gonna forget the games that Nintendo are putting out that are freaking amazing and running at 60 frames per second. We're just gonna say that it's time for them to upgrade. They've always had this narrative with Nintendo for the longest, like they're for everyone, their kids, whatever the case may be. But in the midst of this, you developed your Sony relationships, developed your Microsoft relationships. I'm pretty sure that before we got heavy into the internet and on social media, your IGNs got stuff from Sony. I'm pretty sure they got gifts. I mean, all businesses do it. You know what I'm saying? Like they all shake hands, kiss babies, and pass things along with each other.
Hold on. Not even behind the scenes. I don't want to cut you off real quick, but not even behind the scenes. Literally at an E3, Microsoft applauded themselves for leaving Xboxes under everybody's seat at E3.
Yeah. They Oprah Winfrey that thing. Like that's what they did. Like everybody got an Xbox. So I mean, so we all know, like, every business does it. Like they shake hands and they do like partnership deals, if you will. So when we look at the media, if I've been in this and I came in this and Sony was the ones that backed me, like Sony's were the ones that like came and gave us a little bit of money or passed us a free game or passed us some merch. Anytime something dropping, we were the first ones to get it so we can put our news out there first. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm gonna make sure Sony's taken care of. Microsoft did the same thing. They have their groups too. So when you go way back in this conversation that we had, some Shadow said, Nintendo's not gonna baby you. They're not gonna pay for none of that if you got the means to pay for it. I'm not gonna do that. So at the same time, I'm not saying Nintendo doesn't go around, checking the competition and possibly, giving people review copies of things, but they're not going to go at it to the extent of a Sony or a Microsoft. Like we obviously see, it's very obvious. This isn't like a conspiracy theory, not to call names, but you see a Greg Miller or a Colin, what's his name? Moriarty, whatever his last name. Like you see,
guy that's never right.
You see what happened there. You know what I'm saying? And so they have to keep riding for these companies. Otherwise you lose your free ride. So when we look at Nintendo, you kind of really have to like go on to your like own vices and find your own content creators that are going to be honest about Nintendo. And even when we talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever it's going to be called, I'll even go as far as say, you know what, both Sandstorm and Andre have me twisting a little bit about that date, like going for the 2025. And the only reason why I say I'll twist it just a bit, and while yes, companies don't make too many decisions on the fly, but they can make slight changes. Like my company, we were going to get like organizational change news on January, and they didn't push it to March. So it's like people are still waiting. So something like that can change and can alter. And you only got to let a few people know, because in Nintendo's case, who's going to be there day one? We'll let them know, hey, just be prepared by this time frame. We may have moved it back a little bit. The only reason why, if I was Nintendo, why I would move it back to like early 2025 is because I just saw what Microsoft and Sony just did. They just crumbled right in front of my face. So now it's like, okay, you're not bringing out any known exclusives until 2025, Sony, and Microsoft, you still trying to figure out life, and you're talking about announcing something in June or possibly the end of this year. We'll wait for it. I'll hold out. Like
Nintendo looking like, oh, where the games at?
Right. Like if my main fear is Sony doing something, and they pretty much just told me there's no God of Wars, no Spider-Mans, no Uncharted, no known existing IPs dropping until March 2025 or after March 2025, I'm good. Your new IPs ain't been doing nothing. I'm straight.
I'd say even worse. Here's the problem. 2 quote-unquote Titan platforms landed in the year that was supposed to kill Switch.
Yes.
And that was a record-setting year for that system selling.
Yes.
And one game. Animal Crossing no other game has sold 30 million copies in 9 months.
That is nuts.
On one platform. Not most. GTA didn't sell 30 million that quick on multiple platforms.
Nope.
So it's crazy to me that I don't think Nintendo sees anything as a threat now with something like that happening, because you got PS4 is at what, 50 million right now?
Possibly, yeah.
I mean, PS5 is at 50 million. Nintendo's not sweating.
Yeah, something like
Nintendo,
that.
because with PlayStation 5 selling this as quote unquote fast as it did, still slower to Switch, but it's selling as fast as it did, which is still faster than I think PS4 did to get to 50. So Sony is still doing better than they did on the other platform in regards to hardware. They didn't do it by cannibalizing what Nintendo had going on. So now Nintendo really doesn't see anybody as a threat other than other avenues of entertainment.
Yeah,
which is why they want to get in. Hey, we're doing theme parks now. We're doing movies now. Oh my God, we were the best-selling movie this year. Not just
you just
animated.
made me think about something.
Best
right.
You just made me think about something. Oh man. So another reasoning. 2025. They'll be here in Florida. 2025.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that. They got pushed. They announced that 2025. Super Nintendo World will be here in Universal 2025. Yeah, that'd be perfect. Drop.
They said this in 2014, which was the worst time for Nintendo. I mean, technically, Nintendo makes profit, so you kind of have to say worst time or failing with a grain of salt for them.
Right.
Because even Wii U made profit for them. But in 2014, when it was quote unquote the doldrums, Nintendo was still saying, we see everybody as competition. We see Apple as competition. Anything that takes your time, like you're doing something other than gaming, that's our competition.
There you go.
They said that in 2014.
Yeah.
So they're not, to them, they're beyond Sony now. They're coming after Netflix.
Long game. Because I mean, even then, they said what they were trying to make this last for 10 years. Right. So let's say if they go the typical, you tend to have your last console last for another 2-3 years. So yeah, I mean, it'll line up, and then it'll go on sale. So that way this new one can probably be at the same price point as the OLED, if not the regular Switch, and then they'll be the #1 selling console in history.
Yeah.
So how about dropping your theme park, then dropping a brand new console, and then your last console is the #1 selling thing? Man, just stack them up, and then Sony Microsoft got to sit there and just fold their arms and just
You saw how everybody tried to magically create shows and movies.
Yeah.
Straight man.
The only
Straight
thing
man.
is Nintendo's competition, bro. Ain't nothing. Sir. I hate to break it. Ain't nothing.
But Nintendo might actually see that.
Right.
They
What-
might
That'd
actually
be
see that.
nuts,
When you-
bro.
So
when
the
you
next
drop a-
Xenoblade game will be to the next.
When you drop a Bowsette,
Boy.
maybe.
You have to remember,
Just did that for
OnlyFans is
Nintendo
not
for
just
free.
OnlyFans is not just nudity, people. There's people that put their legitimate content over there.
You know, now that you said that, you said Bowser. Like, how do people do Nintendo's job for them? That's just
Right.
amazing to me.
Right.
It's like 18 and up. We ain't even got to do that. The internet got that.
Right.
We just introducing. Here's Twin Tail. We ain't got to do nothing else.
Oh yeah,
We ain't got to do nothing else.
Yeah, I must say
Rule
Twin
34
Tails.
would do what it does.
Like, I'm a pimp. I'm a pimp her out. Go ahead. Go
Yep.
ahead.
Twin Tails would
Okay.
be a problem, bro.
And you know they're making a sequel to that game too.
They need to.
Well,
That game sucked, man.
according to like Ms. Taz said, where did she say it? There it is. There it is. The reason for Nintendo delay by the media being that they need more time for launchier games. Because
Nintendo builds their systems around the games they want to make. So why would that be?
right.
Okay.
That's it. Right. That's the
Yeah.
lie right there. That's the goal right there.
And I'm not
They don't-
speculating. They said that themselves. We
Yeah.
figure out
We
what we
don't-
want to make based off the games we
System.
make.
Yeah.
Yeah, that-
And they start that the moment they release the current system.
Correct.
Mhm. Yeah. But it's because they dry right now. They extra dry. They need more games.
Mm.
Not that we haven't been talking about Odyssey 2 or Mario Kart 9 or Metro Prime 4, none of those games. But they need more games. So.
We're literally looking at the other platforms that are dry as far as games go.
Yeah.
I love Hi-Fi Rush, man. It's a great game. Xbox dry, man. And there's no games. And same thing for PS5. You could play a lot of PS4 games. They look really good. They look really nice.
Mhm.
But as far as games specifically for PS5, made just for PS5,
Not really.
few and far between right now.
Enjoy Armored Core 6
6.
for
Yep,
sale
Armored Core
on
6.
4. For sale on 4.
My favorite PS5 game right now is Street Fighter 6, and that's obviously not exclusive. So
All right. So that's gonna do it for us. Dang, we almost hit 3 hours. That's crazy.
Yeah.
26 people on the chat. Man,
Hey,
yeah,
yo, hit the like button.
get
That's
the
what's
lights up for you
the
leave.
likes up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you everybody who came through. Berea? Oh, you're new too. Yo, what's up? Everybody say
Yep.
what's up. Appreciate you coming
Sound
through.
What up, though?
You
Oh,
caught
yeah,
right
no
at the
doubt.
end. Yeah.
That's the other thing too. We were talking about Nintendo, talking about Sony killing franchise and whatnot. Like Nintendo kept the Mii as a franchise for 3 systems.
Right.
Technically 4 if you count, 3DS.
Yeah. Still around. They the ones who created avatars like that. So stop
Yep.
playing with them.
Yep.
Thank you for
Xbox had a
Berea.
copy them.
Yep.
Yep. And they
thank
use
you,
Rare to
Triple
do
M. Right. That's horrible.
Screw Perfect Dark. Do that.
Thank you, Triple M. Thank you, Jay. Miss Cass, thank you for coming through. Make sure you subscribe. We here every Saturday. Always having fun. Talking crazy. It's Pass, thank you. Brand Swift, our moderators, Dark Void, and Trinell, thank you for coming through. Man, all of y'all. And I want to thank
Yep.
my panel as well. Thank y'all for coming through. Really appreciate y'all. Before we
Sure.
escape out of here, though, Jack, what you want to pip out?
Ooh, shoosh, man. I guess I'll just pimp out, like I said, my new toy, man, the thing that's behind me. I've been having a blast with it, definitely tinkering around, definitely big with community on Reddit and YouTube. That's been helping me tremendously with this thing. Unfortunately, I've had to make some extra purchases to get what I want, because by no means did I ever thought I would buy, what is it called? I forget the name of the doggone thing. I didn't even know it existed, but in order for me to do like a clean swap of my SSDs, is one of these things to where I put my SSD inside of it, plug it up, and then that way I can do like a clone
Yeah.
on the new one, so that way I can just do an easy swap. But it's been amazing because I thought like with these, they come with the mini M.2 SSDs, but they sell a $5 adapter to where you can use the regular M.2 SSD sticks on it. So it was pretty dope. So I got it cheaper. But yeah, I've been having a blast, man. I mean, like I said, going to these different sites, people finding ways to tinker with it. I've been playing Valhalla on it, tried out Hades on it. I just downloaded my American Truck Simulator. So
American Truck Simulator, okay.
So I'm over here setting up my company right now as we speak. But this thing can run. Run everything I need it to run. Playing games from Game Pass. Like I said, the only thing will always be just hard drive space. And then as far as battery is concerned, because I know that was the biggest thing with these devices, there people constantly finding ways, whether it's updates from AMD themselves, whether it's like, hey, go in, change these settings here for your battery, and just I've been able to get, what is it? It used to be like 2 or 3 for certain games like Valhalla, to where now I can get upwards like 4 or 5 hours. So people constantly working on it, and that's the biggest thing about these devices. Like, they got a community behind it, to where you can make these changes. But yeah, I'll pimp this out. Best Buy had it open box for $503. Go cop it. It seemed like a lot of people turning them in because they don't want to do the work. So reap the benefits of what they didn't want to do.
But it's just running Windows, right?
Yeah.
So let me know what your final decision is amongst all these other gaming PCs that are not Steam Deck, because I need to be able to play an MMO on the go.
And that's
the only way to.
So so far I'm enjoying it. I just didn't like the size of the Legion Go. Like, it was just tremendously big, and then even looking at the MSI Claw, it seemed like it was just like a thing a little bit different with this. But they did say that people keep calling it a Rogue Ally 2, but most people think it's just a different iteration because of the whole SD card situation. Because they put the SD card reader over the heat, and so anytime you put your SD card in there, if it get too hot, it's burning up the SD cards and killing them. So that's why I just went and got an SSD, because the SD card, I wasn't even taking the chance and the risk with that. But yeah, so that's supposed to be coming out this year from what the creator said. He said, hey, it's dropping definitely this year. But yeah, it'll be a pick for me, because I had 2 weeks to keep it or take it back. And yeah, I made all my SSD card purchases, made all my SD purchases and everything today, so I'm keeping it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Shadow, what about you? What you got going on?
Channel dead. Apparently I'm repairing PS4s and making them dead silent now, and building NASs so I can actually record my videos and upload them, because having a DAS, good old Drobo or whatever, wants to be unreliable. So I'm gonna build my own. That'll probably actually be this week. So maybe I'll record it. I don't know. Depends on how I feel about it. But I still got other videos in the pipeline for everybody that I did queue up. We'll see how that goes as far as compressing and uploading and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see. It's dead until it's alive. So just you'll see me upload on YouTube or whatever. And yeah, for those of you that miss me on Twitter, I'm not posting again on Twitter until I upload a video. So you'll see. You'll see.
All right, Vito, what you got going on?
Every Thursday, the Vito Variants. Every Friday, the Vitoverse.
Okay. Bye, Amanda. I think I missed some people, and now I'm thinking I missed them again. Exodia, I didn't catch you, but yeah, Saturdays, 9 o'clock. You got, well, let me backtrack. Friday, we got the Vitoverse at 9 o'clock. Every other week, you can catch us there as we have fun and talk about media, whether that's gaming or not gaming, TV, music, anime, all the fun stuff, all the other nerd stuff that we don't get a chance to talk about as much here. And then here, every Saturday, we got the Stormcast at 9 o'clock. And then on Sundays, we got the Winging It podcast, where you can see my Winging It fam here as well, Jack and Shadow, as well as Andre and Jay, our hosts. And sometimes you might catch Vicky in there as well. And then Monday, we have the Jill podcast, Terminator Juices podcast, where you can see my Jill brothers on there as well. So make sure you subscribe out to all of these guys, man. Show them all some love.
Hey, Terminator Juice videos do numbers for that the home theater he's building. He do big numbers on those videos.
He is super dedicated to that. One day, he doesn't live that far from me. He lives like an hour, maybe.
okay.
If that. Yeah. So one of these days I'm gonna go up there and see him. But it's got to be a day where I'm not worried about Daddy Woes. So, yeah. Other than that, we're gonna get out of here, guys. Thank you guys so much for coming through. We will catch you guys later.
Peace.
Later,
Peace.
y'all.